Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ethan Collier, and I'll be chairing today's meeting of the Chattanooga-Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission. Before we get started, we do every single month go over, I cover some high-level kind of what Planning Commission's doing and how we operate. And frankly, I've been told by numerous people that they're tired of listening to me tell everybody what's going on. So I just want to poll our audience here. If you've been to more than 4 planning commissions, can you raise your hand? If you've been to more than 4 planning commission meetings. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. Why is it slip? No. No, Joseph Ingram. Come on up. I got you're my volunteer. We're gonna do this totally. So what I've learned is, no, you raised your hand and turn on the mic. So we've all watched an episode of the Peanuts, right? Where it's like the Christmas Carol or whatever, and the teacher is talking and it makes that blah, 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 blah sound. I think that's what everybody's hearing. So I'm going to ask you some questions. You're just going to answer them for me.
Can't wait.
Okay. So, what has Planning Commission received in advance of today's meeting?
The packet.
Okay, so this packet,
That packet.
I've said it before, like we got this in advance.
Yes.
And how does a planning?
They've all gone through it.
Okay, and what's your name for the record?
Joseph Ingram, Ingram, Gore and Associates.
And how many Planning Commission meetings have you been to?
5,000.
Okay, 5,000. Okay, and what is the process going to look like? Tell everybody what we're going to do. You do it for me.
Ethan's going to call the case, and if he's going to ask if there's any
Speak up, because they need to
The
understand.
chair is going to call the case, and he's going to ask if there's any opposition present. Well, first he's going to get staff recommendation. And after
Wait, what
that-
is the staff recommendation?
So the staff has reviewed the plans. They've gone into their secret little committee and they've made a recommendation. And they either recommend to deny or approve with conditions.
Okay,
And so the planning commission has that recommendation.
okay,
So you're going to look at that. If the case is recommended for denial, we're going to hear the case. The case is recommended for approval. You're going to ask if there's anybody here for or against it. There's no opposition. Typically, the planning commission will vote on it.
okay. So,
How'd I do?
how much time am I going to give the applicant?
The applicant's going to have 6 minutes on the front end. Opposition's going to have 9 minutes.
7.
I was trying to make it fast.
7. Right, it's 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah,
Then the opposition will have 9 minutes. Make sure that you all consolidate your responses. We don't want to hear the same thing over and over. If one person says it's a traffic problem, the next person maybe wants to talk about drainage. And at 9 minutes, Ethan's going to come off. The applicant will have 3 minutes for rebuttal. Don't address anybody but the dais.
that's pretty good. Did he miss anything? I think he got it all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, hey, one thing that I feel like is being missed just in regards to the general public, I say it all the time, but in regards to the vast majority of what we do here today, what are we ultimately doing here today?
You're making a recommendation.
No, hold on. Say it again, because I want to make sure everybody understands it, because I say it, nobody listens. This time it's Mr. Ingram. What are we doing here today, ultimately?
The planning commission makes a recommendation, except for in the case of the plats.
Uh-huh.
Plats, the planning commission's approval is the approval. Otherwise, it's a zoning case recommendation.
So who are we making a recommendation to in regards to what case?
In the cases in the city, it'll go on to the city council. In the case of the county, it'll go on to the county commission.
Okay, and then when will these people, some of them will agree with the decisions we make here today, some of them will disagree. What should they do in regards to the recommendation made?
So the case will, you'll get a notification, but typically the case is going to be heard in 30 days plus a day.
Yeah, you need to speak up so they can hear you.
In 30 days, the case will either be before the city council or the county commission. Take 30 days plus.
Yeah.
plus one, the city council. City council is actually hearing zoning cases from last month tomorrow. The county commission will hear zoning cases from last month. Next Wednesday, is that right, Dr.
Okay.
Highlander?
So I think you got it all. So I just want to give Mr. Ingram a round of applause. He understands what we do at Planning Commission.
And everything I've got's good.
What?
So I spoke now, so I'm done for the day.
No, you're not done. No, we'll call you back up, but you did do a really good job. All right, with that, we are making a couple changes to our agenda. Y'all are in the room because you're here in regards to the Patton Parkway development. We are moving that to the top of our agenda, and then we're going to take these two cases under old business on Snow Hill Road. I think we've got a number of people here.
We do.
And we've run into capacity issues here in the room, so I apologize in advance for the fact that we do have to make these changes, but we'll be glad to get y'all on your merry way, and you won't have to sit through the entire meeting. So, Mr. Schultz.
Sure. This is case 2025-185. This was on the Planning Commission agenda from last month. This is 19 through 35 Patton Parkway. This is the request to rezone from UCX6 Urban Commercial Mixed Use Zone to DCX Downtown Commercial Mixed Use Zone 12 stories. Now remember from last month, this is roughly half an acre in size. Number of units proposed is 266. And that's overall density of 532 dwelling units per acre. I stated this last month, just as a reminder, this rezoning case is not about the demolition of the Patton Parkway buildings. They can be torn down today as presently zoned. Instead of going through the whole presentation, it was fairly long last month. I have a summary to go through. We did defer, Planning Commission deferred this case last month for them to do a parking study, some parking information. We got that information back. But due to the holidays, we didn't have time to change our staff recommendation to get that report out to you. That's why it still has a deferral, which is from last month. We received those final parking numbers on December 26th. The packet already gone out, so that's why you have a deferral on your agenda and in the staff report. So at the end of the day, this is about a zoning case. Should we rezone and change the general context of this area from urban to downtown? Just as a reminder, the downtown core is the highest intensity area in the city. Office and employment activity are predominant. There are opportunities for multifamily residences. Vertical mixed use multifamily or office is encouraged in the downtown core context. Patton Parkway is in the urban context. Patton Parkway is adjacent to the current downtown core context. This rezoning site abuts a property zoned in the downtown core context, although the property also has frontage on Georgia Avenue. This site is approximately 350 feet away from Miller Park and Miller Plaza. Retail has historically been on the first floor of this portion of Patton Parkway. The site plan submitted with this request does show first floor retail. The applicant materials shows vertical mixed use with upper multifamily. The applicant does not show any on-site parking, which is not required if this is rezoned to the downtown context. So with the request to rezone this from urban to downtown, staff has the following comments. This was in your staff report from last month. Staff generally finds that the extension of the form-based code downtown core context is reasonable along Patton Parkway, as the site and proposal meets many of the characteristics of the downtown core. It contains a mix of uses, has opportunity for multifamily residences, proximity to the downtown core, and configuration of Patton Parkway public realm. So staff would recommend supporting or supports the change of the context from urban to downtown. There are two substantial changes in this request to go from the urban context to the downtown core. That is allowable increase in height and the removal of minimum parking standard. The current zoning, which is UCX6, has a maximum height of 6 stories or 65 or 85 feet max. The applicant has requested to go to DCX 12 or 12 stories or 160 feet. When form-based code was originally developed, the maximum building height in the DCX zone was stories. However, since that time, since 2016, the maximum height core has been amended to allow up to 20 stories. There's been 2 cases that have been rezoned to allow 20 stories. The Eureka site downtown by the 27 and the vacant parking lot across from the downtown library. Both of those have been changed to DCX 20. Patton Parkway, as you can see on the screen here, is between the downtown core to the west of Georgia Avenue and the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga campus. The UTC campus is mostly zoned institutional. We go back to zoning map. I think I have that in here. The UTC campus is mostly zoned institutional, which has a maximum building height of 80 feet. Staff comments in terms of the height. Staff is recommending stepping down the allowable height from the existing neighboring downtown core context of 12 stories as the property transitions eastward away from the core towards the MLK neighborhood. The properties between Georgia Avenue and UTC generally have small, narrow street width and have less precedence for height than the downtown core. The plan recommends stepping down building heights as development moves outward from the core. Staff, as noted in the previous staff report from last month, would recommend DCX 10 for this site and not the 12. And here's the zoning map from last month, just to remind everybody. These are the downtown, this is existing zoning heights in this area. The yellow, for the most part, is 6 stories. To the blue, to the right of the screen, that's UTC, and most of this is 8. And to the west of Georgia Avenue, you see you have 12 as the maximum height in that location. So this area is in between the downtown core to the left and UTC to the right. You get to the, as mentioned last month, by rezoning this from UCX to DCX, that removes the minimum requirements. The rezoning removes the minimum parking requirements and sets the precedent for extending the downtown core context east of Georgia Avenue. Based on the current zoning of UCX, the minimum parking space per unit per multi-unit is 1 space per unit. Based on 266 proposed units, that would mean 266 spaces are required for residential units in this building. The commercial, which is on the first floor, would require 1.25 spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross leasable area. The site plan indicates roughly 2,500 square feet of retail, so parking would be required for this commercial space. The applicant last month did provide this data. This is what we got on December 26th. They did look at some additional parking nearby, which is the volunteer garage, which is directly to the south of the site, East MLK King and Lindsay Street, which is the east of the site, the Loveman lot to the west of the site, 6 building at Market Street. As you can see on the screen, the 2 columns on the right, those are the numbers that are important. There's a total of 856 spaces available on those 4 parking lots on the nights and weekends. So 856 parking spaces are available on nights and weekends. If you go the column to the right, the very last column, 368 are available during the business day. So purely based on the numbers they provided in this chart, there appears to be enough parking for this development based on those numbers. There are other parking areas nearby. I think the applicant will speak to this, but they are looking at additional parking and how much more would be available or not available. So based on the 4 that are nearby, there appears to be enough parking. And here's a map of where those were and the number of spaces available on nights and weekends and during the business day. Last month, we also heard some things that were stated, and I'd like to address those today, like tear down the buildings. Just as a reminder, these developments on Patton Parkway, they do contribute to the Market Square Patton Parkway National Register District. There's not a local historic district that would prevent these from being torn down. So as today, they could be torn down today without the rezoning taking place. We also heard last month about construction of this site and its impact on the structural integrity of the church, building stability, and some caves. I reached out to the Land Development Office, who does the permitting. This information would be as part of the engineering plan submitted by the civil engineer during construction. That would be taking place on the site. So all that's addressed through that. In terms of the caves, the Land Development Office noted that a person has a professional documentation that these caves exist, needs to present the information to the LDO, which is the Land Development Office, so they can let the applicant know they need to be aware of those during the design phase. A lot of those things are dealt with through permitting. Again, this body in front of you today is talking about, should this be rezoned to allow taller buildings and change the context area from U to CX. There is some information that was mentioned last month by the church about the impact on the stained glass. There's some information in front of you that the engineer for the church has provided. One is on the dealing with the structural integrity of the church, and also another study that shows sunlight and shadow study, the impacts this development would have. And he has a overall executive summary of those two documents in front of you as well. That's all I have. It's just a quick summary of where we were and where we are today. Yeah, we're glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Are there any questions for staff? Dr. Highlander?
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, sir. You're recommending DCX 10 rather than 12?
Yes, sir. Stepping down the height.
And so what would the height be on that?
I'll look that up in the form-based code. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Do we know what the impact of that would be on the church?
They could answer that. I'm not an engineer. I could not provide you a direct answer. I'm going from 6 to 10. Sure, it still impacts the view shed.
Okay. Yeah, that is concerning me. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll hear from the applicant first.
Good afternoon, Hannah Claire Bogus with Chambliss, Bonner and Stoffel. Today we are requesting another 30-day deferral. Like staff mentioned, we have some additional parking information. The parking garage on Cherry Street has provided some additional parking, and we'd like to get staff those updated numbers. Our clients have also a meeting scheduled with representatives from the Basilica this week. And so we'd like to allow that conversation to happen before we come back before this body and make our formal request. And then our client is also working on some conceptual architectural drawings that we'd like to include in the packet for next month. So today our request is a 30-day deferral.
Thank you for that. Anything else you want to say? Because we've got a number of people here in opposition. We certainly want to give them an opportunity to speak regardless of your request.
Yes, no, happy to give opposition a chance to speak. I guess if there's anything I need to respond to anytime I haven't used, I'd just ask to have it added back on the back end. But yes, again, this is a project in the center of the city, and we are sensitive to community feedback. Our clients want a development that is beneficial to everyone, and so happy to hear what opposition has to say.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a response to Commissioner Highlander on the height. That's okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The DCX 10 is of course 10 stories, max height 135 feet.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we know that a number of you are here in opposition to this or would like to speak. If you would like to speak, please do line up here on the right side of the room behind the podium here. And the time allotted, as Mr. Ingram mentioned earlier, is 9 minutes for opposition. And so with that, it's so unfortunate that from time to time I do have to interrupt people, but it's because I see a number of people that want to speak. The clock is right over here and I see the time ticking away. So if I interrupt you, I apologize. But you can look and see that there's 5 of you that want to speak. So go ahead.
Father David Carter, representing the Basilica of St. Peter and Paul, 214 East 8th Street. First of all, thank you, commissioners, for this opportunity, especially Mayor Wamp. Your presence here is most welcome to us. And again, Dr. Highlander, thank you for your interventions already. Commissioners, this proposal faces broad and growing public opposition. More than 2,300 citizens, parishioners, neighbors, and residents across Chattanooga have signed a petition opposing the rezoning of this 19 Patton Parkway to allow the 12-story zero parking building. The public does not support a project that would overshadow the Basilica, threaten its structural integrity, and put it in an irreplaceable historic and sacred site at risk. Now, ours is not a vacant lot right next to it. The Basilica campus is active every day, serving thousands of worshipers, visitors, and people that come for even concerts. People live on site. It's designated as a worldwide pilgrimage destination, and any damage to the building would be catastrophic, not only financially, but culturally. The Tiffany stained glass windows, the organ, that's the oldest organ in Chattanooga, and the sacred art and architecture cannot be replaced. And if the basilica were compromised, we would lose its designation as such. Now, this is not an either or debate between preservation or progress. It's about the responsible development and whether the sacred still has a place in our city's vision. This neighborhood has already lost its historic Baptist and Methodist churches. The Basilica is the last historic mother church standing on what was called once Irish Hill. We're not speculating about the risk either. Similar construction caused millions of dollars of damage to the Catholic Cathedral in Birmingham. We've commissioned detailed engineering studies that show a 12-story building and even a 10-story building would present severe and foreseeable dangers far beyond what a building within the existing 6-story zoning would pose. These concerns are fact-based, documented, and supported by case studies here in Chattanooga and around the world. So commissioners, you're entrusted with the public's confidence on these things to make a positive impact with your agency. Today, you can choose to uphold the values that make our cities thrive or allow development to overshadow them without due regard for all involved. We suggest you not take the recommendation of the planning agency, even for the DCX 10 or the removing of parking requirements, but listen rather to the clear voice of the people and deny this rezoning request. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. James Poston, 1933 Turnberry Circle. You'll see the engineering studies in there. I'm the author of that. So any questions afterwards, I'd be happy to address. A little bit about the history of St. Peter and Paul. We often talk about 1890 as the age of the building, but as Father briefly mentioned, the St. Peter and Paul Parish goes back to 1850. And actually the first stone structure that was built for the church was demolished by General Grant during the Battle of Chattanooga, and it was used to build fortifications. So even beyond the caves, there are actually tunnels. It's not well documented, but there were tunnels all throughout the city. So again, getting back to, so onto the engineering part of it. If you'll reference the executive guide that I gave there, there's some points in there, but in the construction considerations, it was identified that we are in the East Tennessee seismic zone, which will drive, I know there's going to be a detailed engineering study done for that by the developers, but I think that they will find that deep pilings will be necessary in order to stabilize even a 10-story structure, anything over 6 stories. We have soil and substratum impacts. I mentioned the tunnels, the caves, and so forth. It's a karst subsoil, which means it's limestone, there's caving, and so any pile driving could disrupt the water table, could cause foundation issues. The second study, you'll note that the piling potential, back up. The first study was conjectural. So I did that very quickly in like 2 hours. The second study I spent some time on, there were some calculations in there, looked at the energy involved, and I know it's a lot of gobbledygook for non-engineers, but 60,000 foot-pounds. I did a look at what that translates to. I think everyone can understand an earthquake of 6.5. So this is at 9 feet from the basilica structure. That pile driving could cause forces up to an earthquake of 6.5. So using your imagination, you can understand what kind of damage could happen. Interesting to note that the Federal Transit Authority mandates 0.12 inches per second. And again, we're talking about 3 inches per second. And that's for class 4 buildings, which are historic structures. I looked at mitigation techniques that you could use to reduce pile forces. One of those is drill pilings. Drill pilings still generate vibrations up to 0.25, which is roughly double what FTA mandates. We talked about the third study, the shadow study. Interesting to note, so I used the developer's engineering drawings or the preliminary drawings, and it showed 125 feet. So this shadow study is actually lower than a 10-story building. So all these effects that I note in there, the Tiffany windows being shaded in every season, crucially at times of worship, scheduled worship times. I mentioned that the legal right to light. Now, we don't have that in the United States, but in most developed countries, there is a right, particularly in Great Britain, the UK, they have guidelines for right to light, and you cannot build a building which will shade residents. And we do have clergy and residents. We have 4 clergy who live at the Basilica.
Sir, we've got 3 minutes remaining, and I want to make sure we have an opportunity to hear from the folks behind you.
Of course, thank you. Just want to summarize it. Denying this rezoning thus should not be viewed as anti-development. We are not. However, denial of rezoning is pro-health, pro-community, and consistent with historical constitutional zoning principles. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vicki LeClaire Mills, and I'm a parishioner. I've been going there for 14 years. I try to attend daily mass. I have a question for the developers. Are they here or just the lawyers?
Well, any questions you would want to ask, you would just direct towards us.
Okay, well, this is to the developers, to the attorneys for the developers, and this is for all of you. I want to know if any of you have ever been inside that basilica. Thank you, doctor. And when you go there, what do you see?
Well, just to be clear, yours is to make a statement, not ask us questions. So if you want to make a
Okay.
statement, you're welcome to do that.
The
There's only
statement
2
is-
minutes left.
Thank you. The statement is this. It is a house of God that he gave to this city hundreds of years ago, over 100 years. The stained glass tells a story. The only time you can see the glass and the story is when that sun streams through those windows. And it is not only magnificent, it's a spiritual awakening. I went in there a sinner the first time I went in there. And that sun shone through the windows, and God showed me a story which changed my life forever. I think all of you should go and attend Mass on a sunny day.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Bill Glasscock. I'm a citizen and resident of the Fort Wood neighborhood. In 1963, I learned how to stand up in front of people and sing a cappella in the St. Peter and Paul's Basilica. And that's what I learned from being there. I could sing one right now, but I won't. Chairman, you and I are next door neighbors. I'm the original developer of the Southern Saddlery building on South Broad Street. That's a 50,000 square foot building. It's been successful, thank goodness. And you built a large residence right next to me, 3 stories high, and you blocked my view of Lookout Mountain. But I'm gonna tell you something. You do a good job as a developer. And I think if anyone needs help developing property, it's you, okay? But, and I think you know all the problems related to rehabbing. Rehabbing is really tough. But that building down there that is about to be torn down is a perfect job for a rehab. You could put clean bathrooms and clean, everything. So many windows. You could rent to 100 different people. The Saddlery building has had hundreds of tenants go through there in the last 20 years. And it's a wonderful incubator for small business. That is the perfect place to put an incubator.
Sir, we've got,
2 minutes.
well, we're out of time, but
Can I just say that
please. Thank
the
you.
reason I came was to offer the idea that if CBL can get $15 million from we the people, why can't we use that incentive, offer it to them in return for keeping it the way it is?
Thank you. Hey, Jake, we're out of time, but you've stood there patiently, and I'm sure you have some really positive things to say about me. So I'm sure we'd love to hear
Thank you,
from you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm Jake Toner, 1007 East ML King. I'm here to represent the ML King Neighborhood Association. Short and sweet. I'm not a priest or an engineer, but we support housing. We do not support housing with no parking, and that's all.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Chairman. I'm Brian O'Shaughnessy. I'm a Hamilton County resident and a member of the parish. As I saw, only one of you, I believe, raised your hand that you had been inside the basilica. As we keep saying basilica, I didn't prepare anything here. So it is a term of cultural and historical significance. If any of you would like to, is inside the basilica. Again, Brian O'Shaughnessy, I'm pretty easy to find online. I think a couple of y'all know how to find me. I'd be happy to give any of you a tour and expand a little bit more on why it is such a special place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to go back to contracts one to see if that was an offer for 15 million or just a statement. So we'll just keep that in the back pocket. Okay, so again, I understand there's been significant discussion about the demolition of the building, the impact on surrounding development. You know, as Brian mentioned, the question about caves, pilings, forgive me, I'm not an engineer, is for permitting. This is a question about zoning. It's a question about zoning that necessarily questions height and how tall the building is going to be. So those two things are hand in hand, but questions about how a new structure is going to impact surrounding development is for the engineering and permitting phase. You know, developing on a small parcel downtown, really close to neighbors, is not a new concept. Downtown development happens all the time. When you develop downtown, if you need more density, you have to go up. That's just a basic principle of development. As you know, as staff mentioned, our client has the right now to build up to 6 stories and demolish the current structure. That's not what we're here to talk about. We did previously meet with the neighborhood association. I did want to touch on that briefly, and they have the prior parking numbers that we circulated with staff, not are updated. I mean, that number increases fairly significantly based on the additional lots in the area. So we'll make sure to get those updated numbers to the MLK Association following this meeting. Again, our request today is for a deferral. When we come back, I think though our conversation will still focus on what we've talked about today. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'll defer to the commission.
Mayor Wamp, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here. Are
You're
there any
light,
questions for her?
you're light
Right.
on, so I was assuming you wanted to.
I don't have a
speak.
question though.
Okay.
I'll speak when questioned.
Okay. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hannah Claire, I've got a few questions.
Absolutely.
I fear the answer to this is no. Is the developer here today?
They're not here today because the plan was for a deferral. They will be in town later this week though to meet with the Basilica and other stakeholders.
Okay. I thought we were pretty clear last month that we expected them to be here today because there would be more residents here. So let me be even clearer today. I expect them to be here next month, no matter what the request is. Nashville's a 2-hour drive. And this city has plenty of developers who come from further away who are able to make this trip once a month. So I expect to see them next month. My only other question is, what, if anything, has been done to at least explore preserving all or part of the facade facing Patton Parkway?
So I think I touched on this very briefly last meeting. You know, the preliminary structural and property condition information that the developer received when they purchased showed that the property in its present condition, particularly the underground portions, are not fit for redevelopment. Again, that's preliminary information. I'm also not an engineer. So, and you know, they're just at such an early phase that they're relying on that preliminary information.
I'm going to ask about it next month. So when they're here, you should let them know that I'm going to ask about that next month, and they should be prepared for an answer. This is 30 days or 28 days for them to prepare a more detailed answer on that.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Payne.
Yeah, just, you might have touched on this, but the parking numbers that you've got, are those contractually, are y'all working on having a contract so that your residents would have parking? Or are you just pointing out available parking?
So staff's request of us was to look at surrounding capacity, parking capacity. So that's the information we'd gather. The plan would be, once we know the number of units and basically, once we know the number of units, then to contract with those surrounding parking lots, particularly the lot that's just on the other side of Lindsay Street, that's right there. So yes, that would be the plan. Is to,
Your plan is to provide parking. I'm just asking, is that you
right.
don't have it? You're just saying these are where they're available. And then if we actually build this, we'll contract so the residents would have a parking place. Is
Yes, that's the plan.
Ms. Burrs.
Thank you, Chairman. You mentioned that the developers are going to be in town meeting with stakeholders, and I heard the church and the neighborhood association. What other stakeholders are you planning to meet with?
So our clients previously met with Councilwoman Knoll several months ago at early stages, and I was not at that meeting, so I don't want to speak to people who I think were there, but I'm not 100% sure. But they met with representatives from the city as well. And so, okay, Mr. Anderson was there.
So my curiosity, organizations that have an interest, other organizations that I can think of that are stakeholders that might have an interest in this, are like Preserve Chattanooga, because it is a historical area.
Yes.
Even though it's not really on the registry, it is, but it didn't, I wasn't quite sure I understood that statement.
It's not
but-
on a local historic district, it's on a
Okay.
national federal road.
Gotcha, okay. What plans are there to meet with advisors like that might be helpful in helping you create a better partnership?
So I believe our clients have reached out or will reach out to Preserve Chattanooga. I don't recall whether it was, and I don't think that's a meeting that has taken place. I think that's, I
Yeah,
agree that those, and they're in the Tomorrow Building, I believe, too. So they're very close neighbors as well.
Okay. I would suggest that your client reach out to organizations like Preserve Chattanooga, which is working really hard to partner with organizations that want to do development in a smart way and also preserve the integrity of some of the history of downtown. I think that would be an important partnership or relationship.
Got it. Thank you.
Dr. Hollander, did you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Maybe I misunderstood. This is a question for Brian, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The parking, did I misunderstand? You said the parking available on nights and weekends? Or did you say, is this 24 hours?
Yes,
available?
it's on the columns provided by the applicant. They broke it down by night and weekends and then the business day. Assume that's 8 to 5.
Right, because for an apartment in particular, the residents most likely will drive their cars to work and then mainly need parking on nights and weekends. So again, as I've lived in an apartment and that's how it worked for me. So, but we've broken it out by both parking that's available on nights and weekends and parking that's available all day.
Hey, ma'am, please be respectful of the process here. So, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to leave. Please.
If I may.
Thank you.
Continue.
Yes,
Sure.
Dr. Hollander.
Yeah, thank you. I understand. I'm just concerned. I know some people do drive out, but some walk or whatever, ride bikes and whatever downtown. So that's just a concern for me. Thank you both very much.
And then on the screen real quick, that's the map and that's the red letters of the parking numbers provided where that's in relation to the site.
Mayor Want,
Are there no more questions?
I don't see any more.
I'd like to make a motion to deny, and that would make it easier for the developers because they would just have one more trip back for a city council meeting. And the reason I think is a bit deeper than the parking considerations. And while those are important, I would describe these ongoing conversations that we have about historic preservation and old buildings this way. There are some old buildings that have served their purpose and they no longer have much utility or architectural value. I'll relate this to some school projects that we're working on. The old DuPont Elementary is a sweet school for those who attended it. A lot of children learned there, but it will be demolished and replaced by a much better school. And so there's some buildings that have served their purpose. There are other buildings that have significant historical value, and I think we should preserve those buildings. I'd give another school example of the original City High School, which is now CSAS, designed by R.H. Hunt, the same famed architect who designed this building. And those preservation efforts are important. And from time to time, I think this body should consider the efforts of Preserve Chattanooga and the implications of the decisions made here. I would suggest there's a third category of building that is so central to our story as a community. The history of this city and this county is very interesting when taken in the context of American history. And those are buildings that we ought to fight to protect at virtually any cost, because they're more than just historic, beautiful buildings. They remind us who we are. In the case of the Basilica of St. Peter and Paul, they are a striking reminder of who we want to be, what we aspire to be. This is a community that has served our community. The church body here, as was said during public comment, predates the 1890 building adjacent the rezoning request. It predates it by some 50 years. Even during the Civil War, the parts of the foundation that were used by Grant to save the Union were then the basis on which the church received reparations that built the basilica, the only basilica in the state of Tennessee. This body, I want to thank all of you. Many of you are my appointees. It's thankless work. Some of the conversations we've had in county government, Chairman, have caused reconsideration among our community about the role of this body, what it does, what it doesn't do, as I think you were trying to educate at the beginning of the meeting. It's just a recommendation body. Often the work of this body is to just make a decision that is non-emotional. It is to take an application and compare it to a plan or an ordinance. And the answer is pretty simple. Sometimes, as is evidenced by the question of 6 or 12 or 10, sometimes it is very clear that the discernment of the people up here, all of you have been chosen for a reason, that your discernment needs to be applied, that it's a judgment call. It's not easy to tell you exactly what should happen here. And if you go to the Basilica, as I have before and as I did last week, and you see the great gift that it was to our community, it is a work of art unrivaled in this part of the country. The light is not just a part of its beauty. It is necessary. It is part of its function. The structural integrity is not just important. It is a symbol of an enduring God. And for those reasons, I implore you all, I'm going to sit here longer and look at some other old business with you. I implore you all to deny it, because there are times where the preservation opportunity is so big that this body should recognize it and act in accordance and signal to developers who are from here or who are in this case aren't from here and couldn't make the meeting that there is sacred ground. There still is holy ground, whether or not you're Catholic. The role that this church community has played is one that, again, beyond preservation, I believe ought to be protected. And that's why I make a motion to deny.
Second.
We have a motion to deny and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Anderson.
I agree with nearly everything you said, Mayor, and thank you for honoring us with your presence today. I want to state that I will be voting against this motion simply because I don't think it's ready for City Council. And I think this body hasn't done the work that we need to do before we take it to Councilwoman Burz's body. So I still think a 30-day deferral would be reasonable.
We'll do a roll call vote, starting here on my far right. If you could, because we've been asked to state your name, and yes would be in favor of the motion that has been made to deny, no is not anything other than opposed to the motion.
Mr. Chairman, may I explain my vote
Yes.
briefly? I'm a parishioner in the Basilica. I was baptized there. Two of my children were baptized there. I was there 2 hours ago for confession. I cannot remember the last time I felt so conflicted about a vote. Because I understand the concerns at play intimately. At the same time, I find it difficult to say that in the middle of downtown, we shouldn't be building buildings of a height appropriate with the rest of the city. So I'm still undecided, and like Councilman Anderson, I'd like to see further information, and I'm going to vote no on this motion to deny.
Spurs.
Jenny Burris, no.
Anderson, no.
Highlander, yes.
Yes. Justin Holland? Yes. Chris Maybe, yes.
I didn't count, but I'm certain that's more yeses than nos. Is that right?
I think I have 8 yeses and 4 nos.
The motion carries. Now, thank you all. We don't really, stop clapping. Thank you. We got a lot of business to do, and I'm just reminding everybody that we are a recommending body. And so this will be at city council in about a month and a day.
About a month and a day at 3:30. There's a handout in the back with the calendar dates on it. You can know what that day will be at city council.
Thank you.
See ya. Oh, I think they educating you off too. Go talk to city council.
Oh, okay. Still that meeting I told you.
Yeah. It'll be in February. There's a calendar back there as the dates. You're welcome.
We're going to All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started again. Thank y'all for being patient with us. That first one took a while. But the next item on our agenda, I'm assuming, were they able to hear what we went over earlier?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
All right. Mr. Ingram, come on up. Get up here. You do have cases later on the agenda. We're going to do this much faster this time. So I have opening comments. I share these opening comments at the front end of every meeting. I think maybe some of them, people just don't actually hear what I say. So I think people are more likely to listen to Joseph. So I'm just going to ask him a couple quick questions. He's going to answer them. Please do better this time, because I would give you like a C+.
Now I'm going to say there's like 2 minutes for everything.
All right. All right. So what has Planning Commission received in advance of today's meeting?
Joseph Ingram, Ingram, Gore and Associates. The Planning Commission has received their packet ahead of time and they've had a chance to review it.
Okay. And so how is today's meeting going to go? Tell us about the process. You've been to how many of these meetings?
Probably a couple hundred here, but overall across Tennessee, at least 1,000.
Okay. Fantastic. So you're a pro. So
No.
tell everybody what's going to happen.
What's going to happen is Mr. Collier is going to go through the agenda in order, I wish. And he's going to read the cases. And if the case has a recommendation for denial or has he'll ask if there's opposition. Mr. Schultz will read the case.
Yeah. If I ask if there's opposition, raise your hand so that we know you're here, because we want to hear from you.
If there is not opposition, it is common for Mr. Collier to call for a vote. That vote will then, if it's a plat, it's the final action. If it's zoning, it will either go to the city council or the county commission.
Okay, so hold on there for just a second. So what are we doing in regards to most of what we do here today?
This is a recommendation body.
This is a recommending body, and then where's it going to go next?
If it's, it will go to the county commission.
Okay,
If it's in the city, it will go to the city council.
and when will those meetings be?
30 days and a day.
Okay,
And there's a schedule in the back.
okay, all right. And then I'm going to give people an opportunity to talk. How much time am I going to give them?
If they're for any of my cases, they can talk forever.
Okay, so we'll give 7 minutes to the applicant to present their
That would
request.
be 7 minutes for the request, 9 minutes for the opposition, and then another 3 minutes for rebuttal from the applicant.
That's right.
Address all your comments to Mr. Collier.
That's right. And from time to time with opposition, we have a lot of people that want to speak. And so it's a very unfortunate role that I have, and that I have to do what my mom always told me not to do, which is I have to interrupt people. And that is only because I'm looking at more people that want to speak than there is time allotted. So the time is 9 minutes. I think with that, you've covered everything twice today. You've done great. Joseph, thank you.
How'd I do on this one?
You did much better. It was quicker. You did good. B-.
It's better than I did in college.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I am going to make a change on our agenda. We've got 2 items under old business, case 2025-0058 and 2025-0059. This is located at 6616 Snow Hill Road, 8454 and 8455 Groundhog Trail. Those are under old business. We're going to move to the top of our agenda. If you're here in regards to those cases, can you please raise your hand? Okay, thank you. Mr. Schultz, I'm assuming you're here in opposition. Is that right? Some of you are? Or no, we don't have any opposition? If you're here in opposition, can you raise your hand? Okay. I see one hand. All right. Mr. Schultz.
Sure. And also, while you're going on the agenda real quick, the agenda items we place on the agenda are in numerical order by the day we receive them through RPA. We don't classify them differently. So when they come in, we take them in order and put them on the agenda that way. That's how they're placed on here by the day we receive them or when we receive them in order. So these are old business cases, 2025, 58 and 59. They've been deferred for several months now, partly because they were submitted during the time of Plan Hamilton being created, and they were deferred until that plan was finalized and adopted as of September. That plan has been adopted by the Planning Commission, and we're using that as a guide. This Planning Commission is using it as a guide as well. So this is 58. This is a rezoning request to rezone from A1 Agriculture District to R1 Single Family. Proposed use is single unit detached residential. It's roughly 37.5 acres. Number of units proposed is 111. That's a density of 2.97 dwelling units per acre. There's been no zoning history on this piece of property, excuse me, but to the south and east, there have been some rezoning requests to rezone those to R1. Those have been approved, some with conditions. To the west of this site, there was a request to rezone from A1 to R1 that was ultimately denied and is being developed currently with a single family subdivision on Bell Mill Road. This is a vacant piece of property. I think it does have a single family dwelling on it. For the most part, it's vacant. To the north is single unit residential and agriculture uses. To the south is single unit residential subdivision that's zoned A1 and R1. To the east is single unit residential and agricultural. This is a portion of the site. And a portion of this site is in the floodway and flood hazard area. The lighter blue is the floodway. Here's a site from Snow Hill. Just another view of the site. This is north of the site, single family dwellings. This is south of the site, that new subdivision, Snow Hill. This is Groundhog Trail to the site. This is west of the site. As stated, this is located in Plan Hamilton that was adopted in September by the Planning Commission. The place type recommendation is countryside residential. That means single unit detached, farming activities, accessory buildings, barns, greenhouses, and manufactured homes would be permitted. The density numbers are 1.5 dwelling units per acre if on septic, and 3 dwelling units max if on public sewer. Here's a closer view of that place type recommendation in countryside residential. Again, it's countryside residential, sorry, in Plan Hamilton. This is the site plan that was originally submitted with the case. And last month, the applicants submitted a revised site plan for this one that's on the screen now. It reduced the number of homes to 111 or 2.97 dwelling units per acre. As I stated, Plan Hamilton was adopted by the Planning Commission September 8th. We are using it as a guide for rezoning and special permit request. The countryside residential or Plan Hamilton does have density requirements I just mentioned. It's 1.5 on septic, 3 dwelling units per acre on public sewer, and then 2.7 dwelling units per acre if on a decentralized sewer system. It also had additional development standards in terms of a required landscape buffer along existing right-of-way, perimeter planting trees, and protection or limitations of floodplain development. So those standards are in the countryside residential. A main component of Plan Hamilton is the aligned future development with current and proposed infrastructure. The plan also noted the following statements regarding new development. Sure. These area plans serve as a guide to determining where growth should occur, and each plan to address land use, natural resource preservation, economy, and housing. Topographic, geological, infrastructure constraints are also considered during the creation of this plan. During our public hearings, residents expressed a desire for reasonable or responsible development that preserves the area's unique rural characteristic and natural resources. That was stated over and over during the planning process. Mayhan Gap, Snow Hill Road, and Hunter Road, and other 2-lane roads feature topography and high traffic volumes that make it difficult and expensive for the county to accommodate medium to high density residential developments. Plan Hamilton also noted that development must be responsible and suited for existing infrastructure while preserving rural development and natural resources. Again, this request was deferred. Planning Commission deferred this case last month for staff to review the revised site plan as that was submitted at the Planning Commission. The revised site plan does reduce the number of units from 122, which had a density of 3.3, to now 111, or a density of 2.97 dwelling units per acre. The revised site plan also shows a 30-foot wide landscape buffer, which is required in the countryside residential. Interesting to note, the revised site plan is based on public sanitary sewer being available with capacity to this lot. At this time, Hamilton County zoning regulation does not include an R1 zone that would limit density of 3 dwelling units per acre. On sewer. This proposed R1, again, which the site plan is based on sewer being available, is not compatible with the density requirements of the countryside residential of 1.5 dwelling units per acre. The applicant is submitting a PUD, which does limit the density to 2.97. So that is a positive. The request for R1 single family with density of 2.97, again, is based on public sewer being available. It's RPA's understanding that the density has not been approved by WWTA for sewer capacity. The A1 zoning permits a max of density 2 dwelling units per acre, which could potentially allow a max of 75 lots on this site. However, that had to go through the review for that. So in summary, with this recommendation, the main factor in this staff recommendation is to whether recommend approval for a development that cannot currently be developed as proposed, but if approved, could be developed at any point in the future where sewer capacity becomes available, or recommend denial for a proposed development that cannot be built as proposed due to lack of existing sewer capacity. So staff recommended deny this request since sewer is not available to this site. There's no sewer capacity to it. The A1 existing zone is more appropriate at this location. So staff would recommend to deny this request as well as the PUD. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Byrd.
Could you go back to the density from Plan Hamilton? So when we're considering these densities that are listed in Plan Hamilton, does this body have any authority, I guess it would be during the plating process, to enforce these densities over whatever the zone-in might be?
Correct. When a plat comes in, we would look at, our staff, Trina would look at that to make sure that proposed plat is falling in line with the conditions of the zoning, just like we did any development.
Well, no, I guess what I'm asking is there's multiple numbers here. And as far as I'm aware, none of these numbers correspond to anything in the zoning code. These are
No,
all
we're
in Plan
processing amendment to the zoning code. You'll see that. We'll talk about that at the end of the agenda today. We'll bring in those back. We're bringing some amendments to this body for March for discussion in February.
That would more closely align. Our
These are conditions in the plan. We'll use, if this body approves that, you can add conditions to the zoning case. The countryside residential is a place type and it has these maximum standards in that place type.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I also answer that too? Plan Hamilton has a comment in there that if you've previously zoned R1, you can move ahead with plating. So it's kind of the look back is if you already zoned 1 or you have a PUD, you can move forward with that. So example might be a PUD that has 3.3 units an acre, which exceeds, what is written on the slide. That is intended to be able to move forward. The plan is specific about that.
Yeah, this will be for new developments moving forward.
Mr. Payne.
As far as whether complying with Plan Hamilton, my understanding is as it is now, it would not, right? I mean, as far as just, but if they put a system in, which I'm not even sure that's a thing anymore, but if it did, would it comply with Plan Hamilton? If they, at 2.75 units an acre, would it comply or not?
That site plan and that PUD plan would have to change. Right now, it does not.
Sure. But I'm asking if you brought I'm trying to figure, I don't really understand where we are with Plan Hamilton. If today, if somebody brought something that was 2.75 on that piece of property and it had a decentralized system, would it comply or not?
Yes, it would comply based on the sewer infrastructure. There's other things that we have to go into in terms of transportation.
Sure.
All that thing. It's just not the sewer, it's all the infrastructure.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions before we hear from the applicant? All right, we'll hear from the applicant.
Thank you. Mike Price, MAP Engineers. And we have the beginning of the discussion, like to pass out the Area 9 plan. The Area 9 plan that I'm passing out shows all the countryside residential. And as previously discussed here in staff, it says if you have public sewer, you are allowed a density of 3 units per acre. Let me state emphatically, that is the plan. We plan on developing with sewer. We understand it's not available today. but there's a sewer that's stubbed out to this property, specifically to this property to allow it to be developed. So the issue is, as we see it, is we plan to develop it. We understand it may be 5, 6, 7 years down the road. But Plan Hamilton says if you're on sewer, you get 3 units per acre. And if it's 7 years from now, so be it. We understand that. What's happening in the meantime is that Kenneth and Barbara Scarborough are held hostage essentially as it stands right now today. So I'd like to bring them to the podium, say a few words, and then I'll finish up from there before we hear opposition. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ken Scarborough, and I'm here with my wife, Debbie. We are both lifelong residents of Hamilton County. We attended Hamilton County schools. Our parents and grandparents are also lifelong residents of Hamilton County. Debbie's grandparents' home on the property was built in the late 1930s, and they later donated a portion of their property for the building of the Fairview Baptist Church, which is currently on Snow Hill Road near our property. Due to wanting the very best for our two daughters, we purchased our property in 1983. And it was adjacent to Debbie's grandparents' property and planned for that to be our forever home. Debbie's parents purchased their property on Snow Hill Road that adjoined the property at the same time. We built our home in 1985 and invested our time and money in the community with every intent to make the area be the very best it could be for our family, for our friends, and for future residents. We moved our pharmacy to Ottawa, and Debbie worked in Hamilton County schools for 35 years. My job changed in 2008 when we sold the pharmacy and it became necessary for us to relocate to Birmingham. We kept our homes because Debbie's parents still lived in their home, and we wanted to be able to return and assist them in every way we could. And we thought we could return to our forever home at some point. We came to Ottawa on weekends and anytime we needed to provide care for Debbie's parents and maintain the properties. Due to their declining health, it was necessary to provide for their health in their homes. So we provided care for them until they passed away in 2018 and 2019. Since the property was our home and Debbie's family home for so many generations, we did not want to sell the property at that time. Now, due to our family all living in Birmingham, our daughters and grandchildren are all there near us, and having no realistic plans to return to Chattanooga, we know the most responsible decision is for us to sell the property. Due mainly to the expense of maintaining it. We have been contacted by many national companies wanting to develop this tract. We felt like that wasn't a good thing for Ottawa and for the people that lived around it. Therefore, we started negotiations and came to an agreement with Pratt Home Builders, which is a Chattanooga-based company. They have a strong interest in making this property into a nice residential development that would be the people of Ottawa should be proud of. We have been very thoughtful in making this decision and applying for this zoning request to provide the best for all concerned. We have been patient with the process for you to consider this request and have adjusted the plans to meet all of your requirements that you placed with us. Denying this request would lower the market value for our property by as much as 2/3 and cause us to be unable to sell the property in a timely manner as we work toward our retirement. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
And I don't have a timer. How much time is left, Mr.
2
Chair?
minutes.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, great. Thank you. So let me just state here that if you look at the Plan Hamilton, You read through Plan Hamilton. It talks about sewer, but it doesn't say that you have to connect today to be able to do this. But I'm stating to you, it's our plan. Proper development says do it in a respectful and proper manner. We're saying we understand it's 5 to 7 years before we develop it, but don't hold them hostage. The plan is we're declaring it. We're putting it on sewer. If sewer were available today and I could connect it, there wouldn't or shouldn't be any discussion because it meets Plan Hamilton. All we're saying is pass it, let it go forward, let it be 5 to 7 years, let the Scarboroughs sell it, let Pratt hold it, and then develop it at that point. Plan's not to go decentralized. It's not to go septic. It is to go with simply meeting Plan Hamilton in 7 years. This doesn't say you have to connect today. I don't find it anywhere in here. It just says you have to be on sewer. We will. I would also point out that 3 units per acre is considered low density by staff. This is meeting Plan Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question for Brian. Well, a comment first. I don't think we're denying the sale at all because Plan Hamilton does allow you to build and develop at 1.5 homes per acre and without sewer. So I think the debate is when is sewer coming? So I think as far as I'm concerned, we're not denying them the opportunity to sell. They can sell and you can go ahead and build 1.5 homes per acre, which is what Plan Hamilton amendments say. So I'm a little concerned and a little confused. I think you're playing the letter of the law. I helped write the plan. And yeah, we didn't write it as a series of attorneys with that level of intention. So I think we're playing a little bit of a game here with 5 to 7 years. If it's not on sewer and doesn't plan to have sewer in 5 or 7 years, I just don't feel like we should recommend approval. And I think you can go ahead and get it approved at 1.5, as the plan says.
This is 2 requests, correct? This is a rezoning request and a PUD request? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Dr. Highlander.
Help me here, Brian, on this, if you would. They can develop it as is at 1.5.
It's 2 under the current A1.
Oh, okay,
That's under on septic or a little less on septic, probably roughly around 1.5, 1, depending on the sewers. I mean, the ground, the soils. But A1 currently allows 2 units per acre.
Okay. So it could be developed 2 per acre. It could be sold, the buyer could buy it, and they could hold it until sometime his sewer is available. Is that correct?
Correct. That 2 units per acre is if it's on sewer.
Right. But if a buyer wanted to buy it and hold it for sewer came through, then it would be available at 3 per acre, right?
If the rezoning is approved.
Right. I would be all for rezoning once the sewer came through. I think there's precedent if we rezone prior to 5 to 7 years in advance. I think it's a dangerous precedent. Although I'd like to see them get to be able to sell it and do what they want to with it. But I think we're setting a dangerous precedent if we plan for 5 to 7 years in advance. Thank you.
I just want to clarify, if I could, Brian.
Sure.
We started out looking at this under Plan Hamilton, and then we switched to A1. We've got to kind of get to the point where we're going to follow Hamilton, which in this case would be 1.5, or we're going to go with A1 and use 2 per acre and not use Plan Hamilton. Am I wrong in that?
We're bringing some zoning text amendments to this body to address that issue.
I think it's an issue that we're going to have to resolve at some point.
Yes, we're aware.
Thank
Staff's aware of that. We'll help that under staff updates.
Mayor Wong.
Brian, can you speak to the conversations that you've had or staff has had with WWTA? Because I understand, Mike's job here is to represent a client, but realistically, 5 to 7 years just sounds far away. There is no reason to believe 5 to 7 years from now there will be sewer. I think one of the things that those of us in elected office should probably be more honest about, particularly given the opposition to growth and the traffic woes this part of the county is that even as we look out at potential sewer capacity over 10 to 20 years, it's probably not going to be at this site, even if we do have more sewer capacity across Hamilton.
That's correct. Almost what we got from Mike Patrick. It was like sewer is not available or capacity is not available at this site. It may not be in any time near future.
If I might, to the question to staff, because what I heard is that if sewer were available today, the recommendation would be different. It would be to approve. If staff comes back, and I don't know what staff plans on bringing, so this is my question to staff. If staff brings back an amendment to this body to approve that says we would support, in other words, this site, Dr. Highlander, you bring up the sewer. The sewer has typically always been a permitting issue, not a zoning issue. I understand roads, schools, and other issues, but sewer typically has never been used to stop development. But the Scarboroughs, Pratts, and any other developer knew that beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you have sewers, you get 3 units per acre. I don't know that we're having this discussion or this case even today. What I don't hear is that actually going to be what staff act to this body that would state. So in other words, if I knew 7 years from now, I got sewer and it's a given, I get 3 units per acre. Okay. But that's what I just need to confirm, that that's going to be the staff's position.
If I understand what you're asking, Mike, no, we're not. Somebody else jump in too. What we're potentially bringing back is an amendment to create new zones, flexible zones, more density related to the planned Hamilton. We're not going to say what you're asking for. Since sewer is technically available to this site, we're going to give you 3.
Which again gets to this big issue. We go through Plan Hamilton, we set density standards.
Mr. Price, sorry, go to interrupt. Mr. Wong.
Well, I was just going to point out
Mayor
he had no time remaining. I mean, we all hear him talk a lot, but he doesn't have any time to speak on this issue any longer.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. Any other questions for the Planning Commission for staff? Just to clarify. All right. We'll hear from opposition.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. This is the 5th meeting after 4 deferrals. The regulations need to be changed to only allow 1 deferral. The application was submitted 9 months ago when the Wolf Teever plan was in effect. Continually deferring until the plan changes in your favor shouldn't be allowed. The new plan is based on changes requested by the home builders and realty associations, which is self-regulation. One of the few parts of the plan that citizens do still agree with is that the infrastructure should come before the development. Repeatedly ignoring the Wolf Teever plan led to the mess we have in Ottawa today. If development paid for infrastructure, Ottawa would have the best roads in the county. The taxpayers are left with the burden of road improvements, and we're told Snow Hill Road won't be improved because it would cost too much to buy the necessary property. The Reagan-Smith draft of the new plan that cost county taxpayers about $600,000, and the Wolf Teever plan designated this property at 2 per acre based on factual information and studies. The proposed density is 2.97 per acre, which would only be allowed under the new self-regulation plan. The site plan shows no turn lanes and no traffic study has been completed. The property owners for the adjacent subdivision were denied a rezoning from A1 to R1 in 2019. You have that. And it was supposed to have a turn lane at both entrances, according to the traffic study and the county engineer, but neither one exists today. Last week, there were 2 wrecks on Snow Hill Road. We hope and pray everyone is okay. One occurred at the second entrance of the adjacent subdivision I just mentioned, and the other at Amos Road. Detours for road closures, which you have there, at these 2 locations for any reason is over 8 miles on other congested 2-lane roads, taking at best 15 minutes, which could lead to excessive emergency response times. The last Snow Hill Road TDOT data collected based on an actual account was in March 2023, almost 3 years ago. It was 10,922 trips per day, and it was a 35% increase from the prior year.
Hundreds of homes have been built and over 800 more have been approved that were over the density allowed in the Wolf Tiber plan. That means the traffic count will more than double to over 20,000 trips per day on a winding, hilly, two-lane road with no shoulders. That is irresponsible planning. There's no sewer availability and no way of knowing when it will be available, as you just heard. The site plan includes lots and stormwater ponds in the floodplain, lots over an existing pond, and a swimming pool, recreation, and open space in the TVA easement under high-voltage power lines and next to a tower. FEMA doesn't recommend floodplain development. FEMA leaves it up to the county to regulate and even offers a program that reduces flood insurance premiums for citizens if floodplain development is restricted. For these many reasons, this plan and this PUD plan should have been denied in April of last year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Faulkner, 5721 Island View Drive, Harrison, Tennessee. I'm here today to ask you to deny this request. You're putting the cart before the horse. 5 to 7 years, that's just a number. We all know that most likely the sewer is not going to be there in 5 to 7 years. You are not blocking Scarborough's efforts to sell their property by saying no today to what they're asking for. They can sell their property. They just can't get it rezoned and sell it. The infrastructure cannot hold this type of development. You know that. And I think it would be insincere and inappropriate for you to go ahead and approve it regardless. I don't think you should let it be denied another 30 days or waited, deferred. I think you need to deny. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There's 4 minutes remaining.
Hi, my name is Rodney Spooner. I live at 8114 Snowdrop Way in Ottawa. My first question is that it's my understanding that Hamilton has not been formally approved by the commission. Is that your understanding?
You want to answer?
Yes, Mr. Schultz.
By commission, you mean Hamilton County Commission?
Yeah.
That has not been approved by that body. It has been approved by this body. So
Okay.
this body and staff are using it as a guide.
So it's still somewhat fluid. It can change. I have a couple of concerns as far as the property is concerned, that the density is based on total acreage, and the floodplain should be removed. The density should be based on usable property. And the comments already been made about the future of sewer, and that may change. The roads, as you all should know, Snowdrop or Snow Hill, like many of the other two-lane roads around, are very unsafe. They need to be widened. They definitely need to have shoulders, guardrails, and things like that. This property, even if it were to be approved, should have a right of way dedicated, at least for future, so that the county, the taxpayers, don't have to pay private property owners for rights of way, which could involve litigation and eminent domain and all that other good stuff. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Price.
Thank you. So when you look at the staff recommendation or staff report, it talks about several items as it relates to Plan Hamilton buffering. We meet the buffering requirements. It talks about perimeter buffer. We meet that. Floodplains and steep slopes. We meet that. Density. We meet that. Traffic studies. Those would be met. Everything is met. The only thing is that there is not sewer availability to tap today. It's stated that it would be inappropriate to approve it today. I don't agree with that. Again, if you know what the plan is and you know that the property became and can become available at some point in the future with sewer, well, that's 5 years, 20 years, whatever. They can always develop it, yes, and they would develop it on a less density if they don't use sewer. But if sewer is available when the time comes, that's the plan. So that's why we're asking for the request today. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Are there any questions for Mr. Price? Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the will of the commission?
Moves to follow the RPA plan to deny.
We have a motion to deny,
I'll second.
and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I've been thinking through this. Were Plan Hamilton adopted by the county commission and we were assured of its, you know, at least somewhat permanence, I would say it'd be appropriate to approve the rezoning with density requirements from Plan Hamilton. You know, the one, I don't remember exactly what they were off the top of my head, but 1.5 if you're not on sewer, 2.75 if you are on sewer, et cetera. I think approving the rezoning with the conditions from Plan Hamilton would be appropriate were Plan Hamilton adopted, which it has not fully been. I understand using it as a guideline, and I think that's a good starting point, but I just want to echo Commissioner Highlander's point. I don't think it's appropriate to approve a PUD based on relative sewer capacity without any hard timeline in place. You know, if there were a timeline and we had a date, that'd be one thing, but a PUD is different than a rezoning request. And I think those need to meet two different levels of, you know, the burden of proof is higher for a PUD, I would think. Given that Plan Hamilton has not been adopted, I'm not sure what to do about the density. I'm hesitant to deny right now. Still, the rezoning, but those are my thoughts.
Just to be clear, this is in regards to the rezoning. We have the PUD before us as well, but the motion was made in regards to the case 2025-0058, which is the rezoning request. Is there any other discussion on that?
Chairman, I'll just add again that the question of sewer is one on which we have no reason to believe either from staff or from WWTA or for practical purposes that everybody up here could be aware of. There's no reason to believe that sewer would be extended to this site. In fact, I personally would suspect that it won't be at this site in my lifetime, at least sewer in the traditional sense. It just doesn't make sense if you understand where the flows go or where the county should invest out in the future. And those investments, even if they were made tomorrow, which they certainly will not be made tomorrow, likely won't allow any sewer capacity even in those parts of the county for a decade. So 5 to 7 years sounds reasonable. There's no reason for this body or the public for that matter to take 5 to 7 years as a serious timeline when there's, again, no reason to believe practically or politically that there would be at this site.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Chairman. My thoughts are if this buyer wants to take that risk, we should allow them to take that risk. It's not our job to mitigate their risk. So if that's what they want to do as a buyer, then I think we should consider moving forward with the rezoning.
All right, we have a motion to deny the request and it has been properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, we'll take a roll call vote, starting here on the end. Aye is in favor of the motion, just to be clear, and a no would be just not in favor of the motion to approve.
Yes.
I'm not a regular planning commission member. And a yes vote is in support of the motion
To deny.
to deny. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I got 9 yes, both of them I confirmed 9 yes votes to deny.
Okay. And how many no?
4 to vote no to deny, to
Okay.
approve.
That makes sense. Okay. The motion carries. And the application, just to be clear, the motion carries and the application is denied here in terms of our recommendation to the county commission. The next case on our agenda is case 2025 the next case is case 2025-0059, and it's the PUD request. I would entertain a motion in regards to that.
Move to deny.
We have a motion to deny, and it has been seconded. And is there any discussion on that we haven't already had? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So just as a reminder to the opposition, this will be heard at the county commission. We've made a recommendation to deny both requests, but ultimately the decision will be made there at county commission. So make sure to follow along for those dates. With that, we'll move back to the actual top of the agenda. And the first item here under old business is HCSD-25-41. It's preliminary plat for Windy Ridge subdivision. And staff has recommended to deny the applicant's request. Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? You're here in opposition? Is that right? Okay. And you're here in opposition as well? Okay.
We also
Mr.
received
Schultz.
some emails in opposition as well.
Okay. Mr. Schultz, if you could.
Yeah, this has been on the agenda for a couple months now. Same thing getting deferred. We have 2 cases with this property. One, this is the plat, then the second one is a variance request. But on the plat, this is Windy Ridge subdivision, the preliminary plat for lots 139. Staff recommended to deny this request. Part of the issues is the Eldridge Road that gets to the site. There are flooding concerns on the northern part of the property. Then the southern part of the property is a bridge that's weight restricted. I think it's 8 tons. It used to be 10. That's been reduced to 8, which ambulance cannot get across that. So we've still have safety concerns with getting to this property. Here's a view of Eldridge Road. See, it's almost like a driveway, if you will. It's a county public road, but it's very poor shape. Here's another view of the Eldridge Road. This is a view of the bridge to the southern portion of the site. You can see it there. Here's the sign. At that time, it was rated to 8 tons, I think, or 10 tons. Now I think it's again been reduced to 8, if I've been correct. Somebody can correct me on that. Another view of Eldridge Road. Just another view of Eldridge Road. This is the portion of Eldridge Road where there's flooding concerns in this drainage ditch here. It floods. This is the northern part, and the fire department has concerns with getting personnel this site if it was to flood, because the southern part again is weight restricted. This is the only access to it. It floods during flooding events. So at the time, the Highway Department and Highway 58 Fire Department both recommended to deny this request. There are public safety concerns pertaining to access to the site, again, due to the culvert and the bridge on the southern side, on the southern portion of this property. So staff recommended to deny this request. This comes up from time to time. When can we deny a plat? The plat per se will meet with the variances if approved, will meet the subdivision requirements, but the infrastructure getting to this site does not. So I have early on when we could deny, when this body may deny a subdivision plat. The failure of the plat to conform to the standards set out in these regulations. Approval of plat would be detrimental to the public safety, health, and welfare of the citizens. And approval of the plat would not be in the best interest of local government. One, again, I state plat itself would meet the requirements if a variance is granted, but again, the infrastructure getting to that site does not. And I think that would fall in line with number 2 and 3. So staff took that into review and recommended to deny the preliminary plat due to those safety concerns on Eldridge Road. There was the next case related to variances. We recommend denying those variances as well related to street standards in this subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions?
Yes, I would like to thank our county attorney for making a presence here today, especially with this case. So if you don't mind, I'll ask her a few questions just
No,
about
that'd be
the
fine.
legalities of this. To my knowledge, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, Hamilton County has never denied a plat if it met all of the prerequisite subdivision regulations. Is that correct?
My 20-something years, I think we were denied 2, but they've come back once they've been denied. But I think one of them was in the city. I can't recall one in the county. Both of them may be in the city.
Okay. So I've tried to do my due diligence on this. I mean, just so the public knows, I've driven the road multiple times. I've been out there, looked at the property, looked at the road. The road, like Brian said, is more or less a chip seal driveway. We sent out Hamilton County staff to measure the entire length of the road from Birchwood Pike, the widths of the entire length of the road from Birchwood Pike to the property. And there's several sections that are in the 8 to 9 feet wide range. My county vehicle was basically the entire width of the road. So it is a very narrow piece of road, and it's a decent distance to get back to the property. In driving the road, if you're not familiar with it, there's several residences back there already. There was a small development along the river back in the day, but it's quite a bit older. The county attorney and I have had several conversations about this in general because I want to be very careful that we follow the law. State law is fairly developer friendly when it comes to these types of matters. There's certain legal thresholds that you have to hit before you can deny a plat. And we've been, we've talked about the size of the road, the access of emergency vehicles. We talk about traffic. We talk about this bridge. And my understanding, in our subdivision regulations, it says basically that we can deny a plat when it's in conflict with the health, safety, or well-being of the public or of the county. But there are some legal precedents and some legal, legal precedent really that sort of governs what that looks like. And Attorney Varnell, if you don't mind, if you'll just sort of help me explain what the circumstances are under which this body is allowed to deny a plat.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Okay, so the legal research that I conducted basically centered on the question of whether the Planning Commission could deny a plat based on off-site infrastructure concerns. That is essentially the issue here, because like Mr. Janeway said, if the plat met all the subdivision regulations, then it should be approved. However, the cases make it clear, and I can provide the commission with a memorandum of law that I've drafted, but the cases make it clear that what it comes down to is public safety, particularly here, the emergency response capability, the fire protection concerns, and safe access are legitimate government concerns. And therefore, it provides this commission with a legitimate government interest. And that's a very legalese way of saying the public safety concerns here outweigh potentially, if you were to deny it, the developer's interest in developing this subdivision. There is plenty of law out there where the off-site infrastructure concerns have prevented subdivisions from being approved, and they've all been related specifically to things like this, where emergency vehicles could not get to the property, where flooding concerns would prohibit certain, access to the subdivision by residents, things like that. And so I think in this particular case, number one, based on the language in your subdivision regulations, particularly with numbers 2 and 3, and with the law, you have the ability to deny this this application. You also have the ability to condition it and potentially ask the developer to make some infrastructure improvements before approval.
Attorney Varnell, what would the threshold be in this case, in your legal opinion, that the developer would have to reach in order for it to be basically what would he have to do as far as improvements? What's the minimum threshold that he would have to do so that basically to make it to where we couldn't deny the plat? Like if he did a certain amount of improvements, is there a level to which you would say, okay, he's reached the threshold, you no longer have a legal basis to deny the plat?
It would be getting the north side road up to fire code, and potentially getting the bridge to be able to have emergency services cross that as well.
Okay. I'll hold additional questions.
Thank you for that. Dr. Highlander, your light's on. Did you want to say something?
I am concerned. I didn't realize my light was on, but I will comment. I'm never at a loss for words, but unfortunately, but I do appreciate Mr. Janeway and our attorney's research very much. I've been over that road many times. It is extremely dangerous. And it would take a lot, I mean, a tremendous amount to change the road and make it safe. And for the bridge, it would be, as the attorney said, it would have to be fixed as well. I've driven my 1-ton Julie over that, and I'll be honest, I'm not scared very easily, but I got my heart rate up. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I did hear that there are some residents already back there. Yes.
Yeah, there are, so if you see on the map here, this is the aerial map. Here's the site in red, Eldridge Road. There are some existing properties back there. I imagine those were all 5-acre tracts, did not require a plat to come from this body.
The other thing that I would add is that a lot of the existing plats or land that was subdivided previously, some of it was done prior to the county adopting a fire code, and then other pieces of it were done on large acre tracts.
All right. We do want to hear from the opposition. Mr. Price.
I'm not opposition.
Oh. Well, we've known you to be on both sides of these arguments, so I just didn't know.
I can be, but today I'm going to be the applicant. And,
okay. Did you want to say something else?
I do. Yes, sir. So a few things. First of all, the responsibility of the roads are the county, not the developer. Secondly, what I would point out is that the fire code has been in place for many years, and many of those homes that have been constructed in here were after the fire code had been adopted. Now, all of that being said, there's currently not a water main that is out here that services this area. We are prepared to extend a water main approximately a mile at over a cost of $1 million, bring it to this site. Secondly, we have been working with staff. We are prepared to widen the road to 20 feet with 3-foot wide shoulders. We have the right of way to do it within. And again, it's the county's responsibility, but we will step up and we will do that and bring that road up to the minimum 20 feet up to the entrance to this development. We will not address the bridge. But by doing so, we now meet what the county emergency services say is the minimum that we need to do to take care of providing services for them. If you remember, there was a representative from the fire marshal's office who stood here when asked what would happen if that road does not get improved, they said we would serve it. Now, that would be a difficult situation to do if you had traffic going in two ways. But once we do the road improvements, and again, on the developer's dime, not the county's, that should no longer become an issue. I would also point out that we have self-restricted ourselves to no more than 300 homes. Okay, there's 450 acres. What does that mean? One house for every acre and a half. Now, if anybody says that's too dense, I don't know what you want to do in Hamilton County. One house for every 1.5 acres. That's the proposed density. There have been multiple conversations from this dais, both in the Planning Commission and County Commission, about wanting to see changes. I don't know how you can get to the point that you're looking to if you have a developer who's willing to take on the responsibility of the county to widen the road, do the things that need to be done, and deny this plat. If you do, I don't understand what responsible development looks like. I don't understand what responsible growth looks like. I appreciate working with the county staff and getting to this situation where we've finally been able to resolve how to move forward with this development. And we think that we've finally come up with a plan that all parties, I think, can agree to and move forward on. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Mr. Genoway.
So Attorney Varnell, just going back to the legal threshold, the developer is offering to bring the north end of Eldridge Road up to a minimum fire code standard as outlined by the fire code that's adopted by Hamilton County. In your legal opinion, if he's offering to do that and that were to be part of the condition of the plat, do we have any basis at this point where we can legally deny the plat?
I'm going to give the typical fair answer of it depends. I think you would have less of an argument to deny it because one of the entrances will now be up to fire code. However, I think you would still have an argument to deny it because the bridge cannot withstand the weight of emergency services. So I think it's still legally defensible. I just don't think it's as good of an argument to deny.
All right. Do you want to stick around for opposition? Okay, we've got Dr. Highlander.
Just briefly, Chairman, thank you. Would Mr. Price I may be incorrect. One of the property owners says that he still is not given the right of way. Are you absolutely positive that you have the right of way all the way through? I understand that one property owner says he owns it and
We
is
have,
incorrect.
he is incorrect. There is a 50-foot right of way that goes the entire length. That was determined by a registered surveyor, given to county staff who confirmed it.
What surveyor did that?
That was Travis Wheeler, Cornerstone Surveying.
Yeah, I respect Travis, but I mean, was he hired with the county?
No,
By,
but it doesn't matter who he's hired by. He's not going to risk his license just for us,
well,
especially for me.
yeah, I can understand that. And I certainly understand that. I wouldn't do my license either. Well, okay. You're absolutely positive on that.
I don't know how else I can state it.
Okay.
All right, we have
But the
folks.
bridge, you're not willing to work on the bridge. So is that correct?
No, but I've got the report here. Let me just state, and I've driven over that bridge. I don't fear for my life when I drive over the bridge. It doesn't.
But your little Toyota is not like my one.
I don't drive a Toyota anymore, but even if I did, it's still fine. I've read the report and I've got a copy here if you'd like to see it or anyone else who would like to see it. At the end of the day, the bridge is structurally fine. It has more to do with the fact of how the guardrails and the approaches. And the only reason that it's limited to the 8 tons has to do with the fact that it was constructed in 1938 and they're uncertain what KSI steel was used. So they're going to default to the least structurally sound steel that was constructed at that time. It doesn't have anything to do that it can't handle more. It's just they're going to default and use safety factors that they do. So that's why 8 has been picked,
I would think we should err on the side of caution. And say
which they have. But again, the issue is access and which we will be
Mr.
providing from the
Payne.
northern side.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question, I guess I've been thinking about, I guess from the attorney. You said if they widen the road, I guess to the north of the proposed development and brought the water line in, it would be less defensible because of the bridge. But if the bridge didn't exist, if that was a one-way road in, what would the legal opinion be at that point?
Let me make sure I understand your question. If the bridge didn't exist and they brought the
If it was
north
a
end,
one-way in other words, are we punishing them because there's 2 accesses, even though one is substandard?
if he brought the north end up to fire code and the south end did not exist, then you would have no basis to deny the plat.
Yes, Mr. Holland. All right, we'll hear from opposition.
Kathy Faulkner, 5721 Island View Drive, Harrison, Tennessee. I'm going to ask you to deny this today because there is a north and south entrance. The developer has agreed on his own pocket to pave the road for about a mile up to where his subdivision begins. What happens after that? Have you all driven that road? Did you see these pictures? I disagree with Mr. Price about the bridge. It was slated for repairs in 2015, but it was put off. It's not been done yet. North and south traffic has to exist on that road if you add 300 houses, at least 600 more cars, because currently there's probably 40 cars max on that road daily. That's it. It was a question about the current residents there. They've been there so long, none of this existed. That's why they're there. They've been there that long. In order to have a safe development and be secure, the county has to pave north to south and repair the bridge and the culvert. Because Mr. Schultz talked about flooding over that
Ma'am,
culvert.
can I interrupt you? I just want to make sure you've heard the entire discussion.
I have
Because as a
heard it.
part of this discussion, we've heard from the county attorney who
I
has
understand.
just told us that if the developer were to offer to improve the northern section of road, that this body would have no or
She
or
didn't
very
say no.
little,
She said
very
it would
little
be,
legal
it-
argument.
she
for
did not say
turning
no.
it down. So I just want to make sure you heard
I
that
heard
part
it,
of the
did
discussion.
you?
Okay, yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just
Go ahead and
asking,
finish.
because what I heard was it would be less defensible. But what I'm telling you as a resident there, people don't drive north. They're going to exit south from that subdivision if it's approved. And in that instance, they're going to go over that bridge and you're adding at least 600 more cars to that road that has not been redone and not up to county standards. I also question the right of way as Mr. Highland. Thank you.
Brandy Bales, 13230 Eldridge Road. I have lived on that road for 22 years now, and I do live on the south end. Even if they do build up the north end, everybody exits the south end. If they build up that north end, are they going to fix the flooding? Because when it floods, the north end is, you cannot go through. So everybody has to go through the south end. And just recently, and if you do look at the pictures or you have driven that road, the potholes that are filled in, that's the people on that road that do that. The county does not come in and do those. All those potholes that have been recently filled in, that has been done by the people and the residents on that road. So if you add 600 cars, she is right. As a person that sees all the traffic going by, they would come out on the south end, not the north end.
Jennifer McLowan, 13246 Eldridge Road.
As a resident of Eldridge Road, I am concerned about such a large development that is going in this area. We have lived there for quite some time. My parents bought the property back in the 70s. So we understand that there are some questions in regards to the road. If you are unfamiliar with the road, think of it as a horseshoe. The development wants to be at the top of the horseshoe. The north end leads to the Cleveland, Ray County, Bradley County area. The south end leads to the Hamilton County, Chattanooga area. So any residents that would be building in the subdivision, they would be exiting that south, which would take them over the bridge in question. We see this as residents coming in and out of those roads. People are driving the road now that this story's become a little bit of a hot take on the news. So we've seen a lot of people coming in and out of the road. As of this weekend, we had a nice rain shower. The north end completely flooded. And with the floods, there was now a tree that crossed over that section of the road, making it completely impassable. They had to get the utility services to come out and to try to saw the tree away, which forced all the residents to have to go out the south end. Because we have lived there for so long, we've only been trapped twice, and that was because of flooding. And we understand as residents of that area what that entails. I don't think newer residents will understand that. I also question his statement regarding the 50 right-of-way. I don't see that, and I know a lot of the residents on that road. I challenge that statement wholeheartedly. I'm also concerned that the last time I heard this brought up was at a city or county commission meeting where we had someone from the Forestry Service come out, and they said that this was not a good idea because of the soil testings that they performed. And this would not be sewer, this would be septic, which would also potentially damage water sources that we rely on as wells. So I have a very, very, very big concern about an establishment this large coming into that area. Thank you.
There's still a little over 3 minutes remaining.
Again, Rodney Spooner. I would just like to point out that if there were a situation, the direction that 300 families would have to travel would be south across that bridge. I would like to see the county come up with some methodology about road capacity, traffic capacity on various roads. This one is suicide. You've got, one lane, basically a tree falls across it and it's going to be blocked. It's just a tragedy waiting to happen. Thank you.
I'd like to quickly add a statement. When Jennifer said that they had come out, the county people came out to do the tree, it was actually somebody on the road. Several of the guys got together. One of them had to bring their backhoe because they never did show up to clear the tree out of the road. And if you go that, you can actually kind of still see the tree that's been cut and pushed into the creek area. Thank you.
Mr. Price.
So what I've basically heard is more indictments of county services than anything else through these statements. If this body is going to be consistent with what you passed on Plan Hamilton, you just denied the one before because you said it did not have sufficient infrastructure. This particular one, we are now providing infrastructure. We're doing the things that you said are required for this body to be able to pass as it relates to development. We're doing that now. Are we fixing every problem? No, but it's not our responsibility. But we're providing what the fire marshal has said that they need to have. We're doing it on our dime, not the county's dime. So based on that, I think this body has no choice but to approve this, and it's the right thing to do. One home for every 1.5 acres density. $2.5 to $3 million being spent on infrastructure improvements that should not be the developer's responsibility, but they're stepping up to the plate to do. So if it's denied, I don't know what basis you are going to deny it, because everything is being met that is being required, as I understand it. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any questions? Mr. Genoway?
I just want to reset a couple things. You know, I don't want anybody to misconstrue anything that I'm going to say with me being in support of this subdivision or that I think it's appropriate at all. But, you know, I try to look at these things from the, you know, the legality of it. What are we legally allowed to do? And I worry that depending on our actions here, we can put the county at a pretty steep liability in a lawsuit. And so I don't know exactly, you know, which direction to go here, but the developer is offering to take a road that's 7 feet wide in sections up to 20 feet wide. Basically, that's basically what minimum fire code requires. And improve access on the north end pretty well. I understand completely that the traffic will most likely go south. I totally understand that. But we're not allowed to deny a plat based on traffic, unfortunately. I would love that if we had the ability to do that. There's a dozen other cases that we've seen in the past few years that we would have liked to have done that on because it wasn't appropriate. I don't think this neighborhood is appropriate, but I am concerned that we don't have the legal authority to deny the plat if the developer is going to bring the road up to fire code. We have roads all over the county that are similar to this. Many of them only have one way in and one way out. Those are just my thoughts. I mean, I'm not ready to make a motion here, but I think we have to be careful on a couple ends. I think we have to be careful too that there's probably some up here on this body that would like to approve the plat with no improvements. Another piece of it is, you know, I know that there's been some back and forth about the survey. I've reviewed the survey. My staff has reviewed the survey. It's the only legal document that we've seen other than what we can go find in deed records. Without some sort of conflicting information, we basically have to go by the word of the surveyor because he's a licensed surveyor and is insured based off of that licensure. Now, if this body were to approve this plat and we got competing information about right-of-way and the developer was not able to do the improvements that he's saying that he will do, we don't have to sign the plat. We could stop it. If there was documentation that showed that the survey is incorrect, we do not have to sign a plat, and we do not have to give a final plat if the developer is not able to meet those requirements. So I want the public to understand that. And I just want to say too, many of you that live out that way, I talk to either weekly or at least bi-weekly. And many of you I've worked with over the last 2 years on planning and development. And I just want you to understand that I don't take this lightly at all. And I'm really just trying to do what's best for both the residents and for the county from a legal and libel standpoint.
Any other comments? Mr. Payne?
Are you ready for a motion?
What's the will of the commission?
I think that there's a real, I mean, we've been through many training sessions where if you have a plat meets legal, the legality, we don't have a choice but to approve it. And I think that's what we're alluding to. I would like to make a motion to approve conditioned on the developer making the Eldridge Road meeting the fire code, the width that you described, I guess 20 feet or whatever meets fire code, and then the water line being brought to it.
If I just clarify, it's the northern access.
Yes, the opposite side of the bridge. I do think that, separate from my motion, I do think, and I agree, I go up and down that road quite a bit, and it's a rough road. But I think if the road was widened, you would see people go to the north. If you were given a choice to go a bad road going one way and a nice road going the other way, I would opt for the nice road. So that's my motion.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been properly seconded. Dr. Highlander.
Sir, does your condition mean also improving to where the flood comes in the culvert? That would have to be raised substantially, I believe. Would it not, Mr. Price?
We have worked with the fire marshal. We've had statements that that's not something that they are concerned with.
Okay. Okay.
Chairman, be clear on it's from the site all the way out to Birchwood Pike. Is that north?
From the side entrance.
Side entrance to Birchwood on the northern part.
Is there any question about the motion at this point?
No.
Okay. Does everybody understand the motion? Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? No, ma'am, sorry, not at this point. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Was it just two? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case on our agenda, item 2, is HSDV-25-7, and it's a variance for the same address, Windy Ridge subdivision, lots 1 through 39, and staff is recommended to deny. Mr. Schultz, I would imagine that you want to weigh in on that, and Mr. Price is going to stay right here.
Yeah, this had to do with county street standards within the subdivision to remove or eliminate curb and gutter, I believe. Is that correct? Because of the rural nature of this subdivision, it didn't need the curb and gutter to have water flow, because I guess it's going to flow into the Tennessee River.
So again, Mike Price, MAP Engineers. Yes. So the plan is to, like so many roads out in this portion of the county which do not have curb, is that they would simply flow off into roadside ditches or on the lots, and then eventually surface flow from there to the drainage and eventually into the Tennessee River. But this should actually be better versus trying to do curb and gutters where you end up with more concentrated flow. This keeps it more spread out, and we think a better scenario, and again, matching the character of the area.
And just to give you an update too, as part of our subdivision regulation update for the county, that's one of the things we're looking at is some type of rural street standard that will eliminate the need for curb and gutters. And this body's approved similar variances in the past.
What's the will of the commissioner? Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Byrd, real quick.
I'll just say, I'd like to see this not only in rural areas, but all over. I think, I'm less familiar with the county guidelines, but the city is on the private side pushing heavily for low impact development, infiltrating stormwater, and then we get into the public right of way, and all of a sudden we've got to put curb and gutter on everything and concentrate flow, and we're trying to do two different things here, and it's one set of rules for private development and another set of rules for public right of way. Not having curb and gutter doesn't always make sense. There are a lot of areas where you really do need curb and gutter to prevent, slopes from washing out, things like that. But where it does make sense, it makes very good engineering sense. It gets the water back into the water table, underground, lets it infiltrate. It's low impact development, just textbook example of it. So I'd like to see this explored, not just in rural areas, but everywhere. And with that in mind, I'd move to approve this variance.
We have a motion to approve. Mr. Chenway.
I'm going to make a comment and then ask you maybe to amend your motion slightly if you would entertain that. This type of thing is something that we do want to see more of. And to your point, it makes a lot of sense, especially in rural developments that are low density. This one happens to be, it's going to be a very low density development. And so in those cases, it's basically, it's less infrastructure for the county to maintain on public roads. It also does help with silt runoff and that kind of thing. The ditches are usually grassy, end up catching a lot of the debris, and then can be cleaned out a lot more easily. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I just would like to make sure that the motion is conditioned to meeting all other Hamilton County stormwater requirements.
I'll accept that amendment.
I'll second it then.
We have an amended motion and a second. Any discussion? And that motion was to approve. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Price. Next case in the first item under new business is HCSD 25-63, and this is preliminary plat for Snowy Owl Ridge subdivision. Lots 37 through 91 and lots 1001 through 1004 located at 7545 Snow Line Way. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present?
Second.
We have a motion to approve with conditions and it has been properly seconded. Is the applicant present? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case is SDP 25-46, and this is a preliminary plat for Noah Reed Flat subdivision. Lots 1 through 17 located at 7210 Noah Reed Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Is the applicant present? Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is SDP 25-47. This is a final plat. Page Meadows subdivision lots 7 through 17 located on Big Ridge Road. Staff is recommended to approve. Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 on our agenda is STP 25-48, and this is preliminary plat for Magnolia Square subdivision lots 1 through 7, located at 1741 Joyner Road. Staff is recommended to defer for 30 days. Is the applicant present? You're okay to defer for 30 days. Is there any opposition present?
Move to defer 30 days.
Second.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 on our agenda is SDP 25-49. This preliminary plat for Lawson Ridge subdivision lots 3 through 20, located at 409 Spring Street. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions?
Move to approve with conditions.
We have a motion to approve with conditions and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, first 2 items under old business we've already taken care of. You're welcome. I mean, come on. It's only 3:15. I don't know what y'all expect out of us, but I mean,
What time is dinner tonight? Because we'll still be here.
no, we will not. No. Y'all are going to be great, right? All right. First item under old business now is item 3 on our agenda. It's case 2025-0181. It's located at 1815, 19, 23, and 29 Jenkins Road. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from RN 16 to TRN 3 and RN 13. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? All right.
Mr. Chairman, staff's recommending deny the applicant's request, but approve other TRN2 for this site.
Gotcha. Thank you. And Mr. Price, do you have any? Wow, that is awesome. Man, so agreeable. We have a staff recommendation to approve other. We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation, and that was properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, before you vote real quick, let me just make sure it's clear. It was conditioned for 47 lots. Okay.
The applicant shaking their head, they understand that. And so all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item 4 on our agenda, we've already covered. Item 5 is case 2025-0189, and this is located at 2149 West Shepherd Road. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from RN2 to CC Commercial Corridor Zone. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? There you are. Mr. Schultz.
I'm going to make a motion to the presentation when she went.
Okay. Do you know that? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to let the commission know that I've spoken with the applicant and he is working with the neighborhood and the developer. They just needed a little more time, so I'd like to make a motion to defer till February.
We have a motion to defer until February, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. Item 6 on our agenda is case 2025-0190, and this is located at 3886 Agawala Drive. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions an application to rezone from RN16 to RN-3. Is there any opposition present? All right, and the applicant is present. Mr. Anderson, did you want to say something now or wait?
I just didn't want a quick action on it because I've got some guidance from the councilman, but I'll wait until this plays through the process.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Schultz.
Yeah, sure. This is, nothing's changed since last month that I'm aware of. There was opposition present last month. Staff recommended to approve. I think it was deferred, so the applicant can meet with the council representative. So staff has no new updates to offer other than recommendation to approve with conditions. And there were 5 conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting. Just confirming what Mr. Anderson had said. I've been talking with Councilman Clark and I would like to ask for a 30-day deferral just to give him additional time to meet with the community on this project.
All right, so the applicant's requesting a 30-day deferral. I saw a number of hands go up and folks that are here in opposition. You've sat here for what, 2 hours and 20 minutes anyways. Does anybody wish to speak while you're here or would you rather wait? If you'd like to speak, come on up. If you'd rather wait until we're going to take action on this, I mean, we're going to take some action on it today, either defer it, approve it with conditions or deny it. But most often I will say when an applicant requests to defer it, we do. So y'all want to speak? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year to you all. We're not clear as far as, you said there was some action to do as far as deferring.
The applicant has asked for a deferral, which would move it from today's agenda to February's agenda.
Okay.
And the reason for that was to give some additional time to do what, Mr. Jones? What,
Councilman to speak.
for the councilman to Yeah, could you state your name and address? For the record?
Oh.
Sorry.
My name is Cynthia Stanley Cash, and I live in Indian Hills, District 5 for over 25 years.
Okay.
And
And so the
yeah.
applicant's requesting to defer for 30 days and give the council person an opportunity to meet with the neighborhood and the developer and have some additional discussions.
Okay, I appreciate it. I thought you said something else after that as far as working on in addition to that. If it's okay, and we've had a couple of meetings, but it conflicted with the councilman, one of them. And we did meet December the 22nd and Saturday. And if it's okay, and I did ask Karen if she would help us facilitate setting up a meeting with our councilman and the developers and come out to the neighborhood and bring more of the information on the screen and all that. And take our consideration and include it into the tweaking of what would be benefiting to us and our community. Our community is 100% homeowners over 45 years, taxpayers for those many years. And we want to make it clear we're not against renters. We just want something compatible to our 3-street cul-de-sac type community. And we are blessed to have such a nice community, off the main roads. And our traffic is horrible, doing regular business, work hours in the evening. And it's just a horrible mess when the interstate is clogged up too. So we're concerned about, we're right there by the levee with Moore Road and Shallowford Road and Bart Buchanan, FedEx, and so everything just clogged up right there anyway. The 2 streets turn into one turn into 2, and then they merge back at Cromwell at Vulcan to 1. Then Jersey Pike is free. So we're concerned about the traffic congestion too. That's why we really want to talk to RPA and Trail of Tears running through our community. So thank you all for understanding last month when you all approved a 30-day deferral because we hadn't had any contact. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Anderson, did you want to speak as well? Yes, come on up.
Hi, my name is Shelley Stevens and I live on Agawila. We have not had a meeting with the developer or an opportunity to talk to the commissioner. We would love to defer for 30 days to have that opportunity so that we could further understand what their plan is for the neighborhood.
Move to defer 30 days.
Second. We have a motion to defer for 30 days and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now to new business. First item here, item 1 under new business is case 2026-0001, and this is located at 4412 Dodds Avenue. And it's an application to rezone from RN 15 to CC Commercial Corridor Zone, and staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request and approve other. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Ma'am, are you familiar with staff's recommendation here? Can you come on up? Can you come up to the podium for me? So staff has recommended something here. Are you familiar with what they've recommended?
Yes, I read it, and yes, we are agree with the staff recommendation.
Okay, so you're agreeable with the staff recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we have a motion to approve the staff recommendation. It was properly seconded. Mr. Anderson.
For discussion on the motion, I have a question for staff. Brian, can you just confirm that the CTMU zone will accommodate all of her proposed uses?
It did. I checked that
All right.
as a priority. It does allow a restaurant, mobile food truck, and office, which is the 3 uses she asked for.
Thank you. Call the question.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2 on our agenda is case 2026-0002. This is located at 7629 Austin Drive. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from RN-2 to RN-3. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the president, Mr. Gregory Kirk, president of the Oak Grove Neighborhood Group, had to leave to pick up a child. But you should have in front of you, they have met with the applicant and they wish that these 5 conditions be placed on this property. Oh, sorry. I'm on 3.
That's all good. Okay, so
Case 2's been withdrawn.
there's an applicant here. Do they know it's been withdrawn? Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're the applicant and you would like to withdraw it? Okay. No, we need a motion. We have a motion to allow the applicant to withdraw it, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3 on our agenda, Mr. Schultz.
Now I'm correct. Yes.
It's case 2026-0003.
1801 South Kelly Street.
Yes,
You
sir.
have 5, in front of you, 5 conditions that the neighborhood association, I guess, had worked with the applicant and wished to have these conditions placed on this rezoning request. Staff has not looked at these conditions.
Is the applicant present? You are. And is there any opposition present? All right. And where are these conditions, Mr. Schultz?
Should have those, Emily said you should have them in front of you. There's one sheet.
We throw that stuff out.
Man, I can read them if you will for the record.
I'm just kidding. I've got it right here.
Okay, got it.
Okay. No gated access, height limitation to a maximum of 3 stories, no parking from the front of the building to South Kelly, residential use only, independent third-party peer review of stormwater plans. You're the applicant and you're agreeable to these conditions? Yes.
What was the last one? I'm sorry.
Independent third-party peer review of stormwater plans.
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Well, a peer review of the civil engineering plans, including hydrology studies, should be conducted. The site's in the 100-year floodplain, has flooded multiple times over the last 2 years. The runoff from the site impacts a number of homes downstream. We're not asking for a separate engineer to do a separate hydrology study, just an expert review of the study produced. I think you raise a good question that I'm not sure how enforceable that is, but yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you tell us what you think that means and what y'all plan to do?
Robbie Robinson, PKR Consulting. I think what they want is, so this is our civil engineer and he'll be designing the plans. They just want another third-party independent civil engineer to double check to confirm that the stormwater calculations are all accurate. Paid for by the developer.
Paid for by the developer?
Yes, sir.
And that's something y'all are comfortable with?
We are.
I have a question about that. I mean, is that not the role of the city?
It is.
I don't know why we would need a third, I mean, I don't particularly want to go down that road. I don't know that would be yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm for all of them, but that, I just think that's the job of the city to do that. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, number 1, no gated access. I believe this is a private street or a public street. You couldn't gate it if it's a public street.
Mr. Anderson.
For the purposes of getting this on discussion and for y'all to tell me if I'm wrong about part of this, I'd like to move approval with conditions 2, 3, and 4 only, as number 1, Brian is correct, is completely illegal to do that even without the condition. And number 5 is redundant because, as Commissioner Payne noted, the city is a third-party neutral source.
We have a motion with conditions to approve, and it has been seconded.
2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4. Mr. Maybe.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. So I thank Mr. Anderson for his motion there and would like to
thank the applicant for being willing to work with the community there, but I just do worry about what those other ones precedent that those other would set. So I will be voting in favor of Mr. Anderson's motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Yeah, we're voting on the motion, which was to approve with conditions 2, 3, and 4. Mr. Schultz, are you clear on the motion?
Mr. Price.
Yes.
I am, but wow.
I just get so used to looking at the
True, I
gray
know.
head.
And the glasses.
The goatee and the glasses, and it's just very confusing to be in this role. Very confusing.
Yes,
All in-
staff's clear.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, item 4 on our agenda is a mandatory referral. It's case 2026-0004, and this is located in the 1200 block of Northmore Road. Staff is recommended to approve a public sewer easement closure and abandonment. Is there any opposition present? What's the will of
Move
the
to
commission?
approve.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is a mandatory referral, case 2026-0005, and it's located in the 8100 block of Graham Road. Staff is recommended to approve an applicant's request for public right-of-way closure and abandonment. Is there any opposition present? Okay. And is the applicant present? All right. Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, this is a mandatory referral to close a right of way that's not been opened or paved, or there's no infrastructure in this right of way. Proposed use is to combine property. You can see the area in question right here. There's above this RN15. A portion of the adjacent right of way was abandoned in 2004, as well as a portion of the right of way to the northeast of the site in 2020. So there's been a history of right of way abandonments in this location. Here's an aerial view of the property. You can see the right of way just to the north that will be abandoned. Everything abutting this is single unit residential. This is a view of the site from Graham Road. Here's the site plan. How the site will be developed. The portion in red hatched area, that's the right of way to be abandoned. So the developer is going to abandon that, get a portion of that right of way, develop this site, and rededicate a portion of the right of way back to the city for these hammerhead turnarounds. So based on that, it's not landlocking any property. The applicant has demonstrated a need to abandon this public right of way. Again, the closure will not landlock anybody. This request does meet the City of Chattanooga right-of-way abandonment policy, so staff recommended to it.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Sir, would you like to speak in regards to the request? You're the applicant, right?
Adam Levitt, Westbrow Development, speaking on behalf of the owner. Yeah, as the staff said, there's no way that this alley could be connected to anything. There's single family residential all around it. The connection to the main road, Jenkins Road, has already been shut down. So there's really just no use for this. So we're just trying to get rid of it so we can make the property more beneficial to the development.
Thank you. Stay close. We've got a number of people in opposition, so you'll want to speak after they do. Sure. If you're here in opposition, you'd like to speak, come on up to the mic. As a reminder, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Emily Ellis. I live across the street at 8112 Graham Road. I am also a small business owner here in Hamilton County, or my family is. I am not necessarily opposed to this, but I do want to ask if I'm allowed. When Graham Road is widened, are they going, I'm directly across from this new neighborhood that we, and will that be put into the plans when Graham Road is widened? Apparently it was supposed to be in the forecast for this year. That is really my only question.
I can answer that.
Mr. Anderson.
Do not take this as a commitment of when the city of Chattanooga is going to widen Graham Road. But my understanding is that is going to happen, but what typically happens with a road widening is it may be 22 feet of pavement sitting on a 50-foot right of way. So if they add, say, 8 feet to the pavement width, that doesn't change the right of way amount. So we, the city of Chattanooga, already own a lot more road there than is actually paved.
So this will not, so I, like, so you guys would not take more of my right of way, I mean, of my easement to widen Graham Road?
We would not take any of your property, provided that where you think your property line is where it actually is.
Well-
Where grass meets pavement is almost never the actual
Right,
property line.
I understand. Yes, I understand that. Since this easement has been closed down and it was made for Graham Road's utilities, even though that it wasn't, they didn't properly use that for, I mean, our utilities and everything are in the road, but I'm just saying, like, as the property owner, I guess I said what I needed to say, but
Neither this applicant nor the city would be empowered to take any of your property unless that we went through a very costly and complicated eminent domain process, which we are
Right.
not interested in doing.
okay, so this easement though. Okay, thank you very much.
So I'm gonna make sure I ask, you are not opposed to the closing of this?
Right, yeah, that is
You're more
totally fine.
concerned with the frontage of your,
Yes, I just want it to be fair to all of the residents on Graham Road, since that was built for our utilities
Sure.
and, public right of way, like everybody on Graham Road, I feel like that is all of our property. I mean, and that should be considered when, widening, or if that will truly happen.
gotcha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda is mandatory referral case 2026-0006. It's located in the 1800 block of Jenkins Road, and staff is recommended to approve with conditions and applicant's request for a public right-of-way closure and abandonment. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And in regards to the conditions, thank you. We have a motion to approve and it has been, can you clarify that with conditions? We have a motion to approve with conditions and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda is case 2026-0007, and this is located at 6831 and 6837 Mountain View Road. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions and applicant's request to rezone from R3 to M2. Is there any opposition present?
Mr. Chairman, we did have some emails in opposition as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Is the applicant present? All right. Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, this is case 2026-007. This is a request to rezone a piece of property zoned R3, multifamily residential district with conditions to M2 wholesale and light industrial district, proposed office and warehouse use only. It's roughly 2.73 acres in size. Again, this property was previously zoned M2. It's now since been rezoned to R3 with conditions in 2015 for assisted living facility only. It's a vacant piece of property. To the north is vacant land. You have indoor swimming pool, warehousing. To the east of the site, you have medical office. To the south is warehouse, and to the west is vacant land. Here's a view of the site. Another view of the site. North of the site, some of the warehousing facilities. South of the site. East of the site, which is the medical office. And this is Mountain View Road. Interstate's on your right-hand side. This property is located in Plan Hamilton, which is adopted again by this body in 2025. The place type recommendation is industrial. Industrial uses include light manufacturing, industrial facilities including assembly facilities, offices, distribution, warehousing, and wholesaling. Retail is permitted specifically related to the primary use and self-storage facilities. That's what the place type envisions. Here's a closer view of the place type recommendation, again, which is industrial. There's a site plan submitted with the request. This site is surrounded by a mix of commercial, office, and light industrial uses. So the request would be compatible with those adjacent uses. The site is surrounded by M2 zoning to the north, south, and east. This request would be an extension of the existing zone. There is RA1 and R1 zoning to the west of the site. Most of the development form in this area is one-story warehousing and commercial buildings with shared or paved parking lots. This request to expand office warehouse development would be compatible with adjacent development form. Again, the place type recommendation to Plan Hamilton is the industrial place type. The industrial zone, which is M2, has some heavy industrial uses and other uses that may not be appropriate, specifically retail. So staff recommends to approve with a condition, no standalone retail sales. Retail sales related to an industrial warehouse use is acceptable. No restaurants or automobile service stations, no dwellings, and no agriculture uses shall be permitted. So staff recommends to approve with that one condition. That way it's more supportive of the plan.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for staff? Dr. Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. Will there be a buffer zone on this at all? Like, I've had some calls. This is not my district, but it's right next to my district. And several people have asked about any chemicals related from the children that are in the swimming area. That's what the primary concern of several people is. Will there be a buffer zone at all between that and the swimming?
It's not required for the zoning code. The zoning code does require a buffer to the east or west of the site where it butts any R1 and A1. But the swimming pool and those other uses are already zoned manufacturing, so they would not be required unless the developer wants to self-impose that as a condition, but it's not required by the zoning code.
But they were also concerned about any chemical release for the.
Right now, it's just proposed to be warehouses, self-storage warehouses. I have no idea about that. We can maybe speak to that better than I could.
Can you speak to that, Mr. Price?
Mike Price, sometimes mistakenly known as Brian Schultz.
Yes. And I'm Mike.
Yes. So I'll get to your question if I might, Dr. Highlander. So the property has been zoned in 2015 to R3 for the use of an assisted living facility. Unless you would want your parent or loved one that's aged to be looking over a bunch of rocks to the south and metal buildings to the north, it's really not an appropriate site. And given that it's been 11 years that it's been sitting here with no users coming into play, that ought to speak enough for itself. So we think that office warehouse is an appropriate use for this particular location. There are no plans for any buffer zones, but I would point out to the north of us is manufacturing zone, metal buildings. To the south is the Little Wall 1, Site 1, where they call it, where you can get landscape materials. You do have a stream buffer to the east of us, between us and medical offices. To the west of you, you have Rogers Branch, which comes through there, which has a 60-foot buffer on both sides. And it would also require us to have a 30-foot planted buffer on that side. So no one's going to see this as you drive up and down Mount View Road, except as you're traveling northbound for about a 3 or 4 second window, and then you are completely not going to see it. By the fact of it being an M2 zone, you really do not have chemical processes. You're simply storing materials. Now, it's not to say chemicals can't be stored, but typically those are not done in a manner that would be problematic or concerning as it relates to safety and welfare of the nearby businesses and those that would be in the area. You're looking typically more in an M1 type zone would typically be when that occurs. So there won't be any processes that would be releasing chemicals into the air or anything such as that. So based upon that, we think this is a appropriate zone, taking it back to what it had been many years before. And assisted living is just simply not a viable use at this particular location. If any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any questions for the applicant?
One more, Rick.
Dr. Highlander?
Have you done a traffic study by any chance?
No.
Thank you.
Right, we had a number of people raise their hands in opposition, so we'll hear from them. If you were here and you wanted to speak in opposition, come on up.
Had several letters from, I don't know if y'all want to look at these. You want them? Some people that couldn't stay here this long today. My name is Brooke Earhart. I live at 7605 Owl Hollow Trail. I am the board president of Southeast Tennessee Swimming, the nonprofit organization that manages and operates all programs and activities out of the Ottawa Swim Center. I am here speaking about this case. Let it be noted that the Ottawa Swim Center did not receive a letter notifying us of this rezoning request, nor did any of the surrounding properties. Also, there was not a community meeting held to discuss this matter. This is concerning given the direct impact the development would have on our facility, our families, and the children we serve. The Ottawa Swim Center is the only community pool in our area that serves hundreds of children and families each year. We provide swim lessons, swim parties, high school and middle school swim teams, practices for East Hamilton High School and middle schools, Ottawa High School and Middle School, Hunter Middle School, and we operate a year-round USA swim team. We also host swim meets, rent pool space to community groups such as kayaking training groups. We are home to the largest summer swim league in the area. The Tidal Waves summer team alone has at least 250 children each season and enrolled, and is often capped off due to demand. This is already a very high traffic area for children-centered area. During the school year, we have a school bus stop for students to our facility for practices. Parents and children are moving throughout our parking lot throughout the day. Our swimmers use the surrounding green space and parking lot areas for dryland training, team building activities, and outdoor play. Any loss of this space or increased congestion creates a real safety risk for the children who are here daily. Our pool operates with a retractable dome that must remain ventilated to maintain air safety and water quality. Construction and concern for types of businesses next to our facility raises serious concerns about dust, emissions, noise, long-term air quality impacts that could affect the children's ability to safely participate in swimming activities, especially children with respiratory issues. Properties around us would be affected with air quality, noise, and traffic risks that we're concerned about. CrossFit keeps their garage door open for workouts. Part of its facility is outside. They use the roads nearby for running. Fit One also has patrons that run outside on the properties. The gymnastics center has 2 gyms on the property with high volumes of children coming in and out throughout the day. Additionally, adjacent to the property, the Ottawa Swim Center has historically been a low-lying swampy area. This raises concerns about drainage, storm water runoff, and flooding, whether proper environmental studies have been completed. I truly would have appreciated a community meeting and the opportunity to discuss with the applicant on development ideas that could support the needs of our growing community, the possibility of enhancing youth recreation and activity in this area, especially since one of the properties they want to build on and put warehouses on is currently a baseball field in use for children in our area. For these reasons, we formally request that it be denied. If it is to be approved, we do ask that there are restrictions to be placed on the property, which I've heard some of them. We would like a buffer to be placed between to help preserve green space between the new development and the swim center, limits on how close the buildings can be placed to our pool and our facilities. For large buildings or multi-story structures, ideally 20 to 30 feet. This would allow light and prevent shade over our pool, which can affect our temperature and chemical balances and reduce risk from runoff and debris. Height restrictions on buildings limited to 1 to 2 stories to prevent blocking sun. Higher buildings can cast significant shade and make the pool colder and also create privacy issues. We don't want businesses staring into our pool deck. A full traffic impact study to be completed. Possible of needing a right turn lane into the facilities and traffic flow to protect the children and people exercising on the roads. Independent environmental and drainage stormwater studies to be completed due to low-lying nature of the land. And there must be restrictions on the types of businesses that are allowed to protect air quality, noise levels, and safety for the children. And I think went through some that were on there. Our overall goal is to protect the safety and health and well-being of our children, our families, communities, and preserve the important role the Ottawa Swim Center plays in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you. Mr. Price.
So I'm familiar with Ooltewah Swim Facility, having a son that participated there many years ago. Let me just say that again, with the use that we are proposing in through here, it's not dissimilar from the other uses that are nearby. There's also 2 access points to get in and out of the facility here. There's one to the north that goes by Frost Cutlery, and then one to the south. As it relates to doing any road improvements on Mountain View Road, that's not our frontage. We don't own that. We are simply rezoning a piece of property that is in the back. So we don't have the ability to necessarily look at those type of issues. As it relates to safety issues, again, these are uses. We would probably see some of the area might be fenced in, which would prevent kids from jumping the fence or maybe wandering over. Certainly that's something that we could provide as it relates to that. So zoning regulations will control in terms of the setbacks, distances off. But in terms of any buffering, I don't see us doing any buffering. If anything, they could do buffering if they felt that that was an issue. But again, this facility has been there for many years and didn't put any buffering, and it was basically open area and used for, I've seen a lot of different type uses stored there over the years. So, so given that, we think that again, this meets the requirements. I'm happy to meet. I do have a couple of cases still yet to be heard, but I am happy to meet with opposition. I'll give out my business contact information and happy to meet with them between now and county commission meeting if that's appropriate. Any questions? Happy to answer from here.
Any questions for the applicant?
I have one.
Yes.
Does the owner plan to have any manufacturing on site, or is it all just storage?
Manufacturing is not allowed use to my knowledge in M2. So it's basically just office warehouse, plumbers, electricians, those type uses. And of course, retail sales have been restricted out, which is a smart thing to do, I would think. So this is really more of a uses that are people coming in early in the morning, picking up whatever equipment, going out doing the service calls, coming back in, you know, that sort of type uses.
How high do you think the buildings will be?
If they do some storage into there, sometimes you could be up to 3 stories, but majority are somewhere between 1 to 2, but you can have up to 3. But I don't see anything that's going to block the sunlight from the pool whatsoever, irrespective if every building on there is 3 stories.
Mr. Chairman, that's something to note to the staff, the planning commission. The M2 zone doesn't have any height restrictions.
We'd be fine with a 3-story restriction if that's something that this body deems appropriate.
I missed it. Did you guys have any conditions on this?
We did on use, not the height. Our only condition was related to no standalone retail sales. And no restaurants, no or automobile service stations or dwellings. And that's trying to get to the true use of the place type, which is industrial uses only.
Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Highlander and then Mrs. Burrs. Go ahead.
If Mr. Price is amenable, I would suggest that we add a 3-story maximum height.
That would be appropriate, in my opinion, given the other size and heights of the buildings in the area. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Burrs.
Thank you. Brian, question, or Mike, even you too. Number 3, that we already answered that question in a previous case where Land Development Office has to do the environmental drainage and stormwater studies. I mean, that's part of the permitting process, correct?
It's been in county, so yes, they have an engineering team that review that.
Okay, so county. And then what about a traffic impact study? Would that be required?
I don't know that one would be required, but if the Hamilton County Transportation deems it necessary that we would have to do one, then we will.
Okay.
But again, the traffic study is not going to say this zoning is inappropriate. I can 100% stand here today and say that to this body. Now, it may come back in with some recommendations, and then we can go from there as it relates to going through the permitting issue. But I don't see that as a zoning issue at this point.
Right, it's the next level, but I guess opening the conversation so that the people that are opposed to it hear that you would be willing to.
I think
do
we
that
would
if
go
the
to what
county addressed it.
we would look at what the county requires of us, and if
Okay.
they require one, we would do one. Yes.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, they require one for commercial developments over 50,000 square feet, as well as a certain period of generated vehicle trips. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that
Okay.
to determine when a traffic study would be required.
Any other questions? What's the will of the commission?
I'll make a motion.
Mr.
I'll make a motion with staff conditions and then added a condition of 3 stories on any buildings.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next case on our agenda is item A. It's case 2026-0008, and this is located at 2212 Bailey Avenue. And staff is recommended to approve an applicant's request to rezone from RN-2 to TRN-3. Is there any opposition present? We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9 on our agenda is case 2026-0009. This is located at 1835 Crabtree Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions an applicant's request to rezone from A1 to R1. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And are you good with the conditions that staff has recommended? Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Can you clarify that that is with conditions? We have a motion to approve with conditions that has been properly seconded. Discussion, Mr.
I've got a question about
Bird.
condition 2 here. I don't recall ever seeing this condition on a zoning case before. Is it something we?
That condition came about because the place type recommendations, suburban residential, and Plan Hamilton has development standards that are not in the zoning code yet. That's where that condition comes from.
Okay.
Until we get that codified into the zoning code, you'll be seeing more conditions like this.
Okay.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Did you get that? Ms. Adams recused herself. Item 10 on our agenda is mandatory referral to case 2026-0010. And this is, staff is recommended to approve a public right-of-way closure and abandonment parallel to the 500 block of North Bragg in the town of Lookout Mountain. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present?
Mr. Chairman, I talked to the applicant before. They had to leave and go pick up kids.
I think they're still
Oh,
here.
Oh, secondary, okay.
Okay. So we don't have any opposition. What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And I've lost my page here. Okay. Item 11 on our agenda is case 2026-0013. And this is located at 8476 East Brainerd Road. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request and approve other for rezoning application from RN 16 to CC Commercial Corridor Zone. Is there any opposition present? I know the applicant's present. You're good. Okay. With other, right?
Mr. Chairman, staff, be clear. Emily just reminded me on this one. The sign was not posted the minimum 15 days prior to the Plan Commission meeting. So it says you all may, due to that violation, may not, you so choose to act or not act on the case.
Mr. Price, can you come up? Do you know why the sign wasn't posted?
I do. So the applicant's father passed away and also we had Christmas holidays. And so communicating between us and the owner, we did not get it posted within the 15 days.
Have you?
No, it was posted January the 2nd is when it was posted. So I guess that would make it approximately a week.
Just, we do, RPA does mail letters to abutting property owners.
Yeah.
It's on our website, so.
Okay. Well, please ensure that it's maintained through city council.
We will.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Are
Mr.
we,
Genoway.
when would the letters have gotten to the budding property owner?
At least 20 days before the meeting,
Okay.
2021. So they've been there pretty of time.
Did I hear a motion already? Or I'm sorry, Mr. Byrd.
You
Okay,
made a motion.
okay.
Again, question about the condition, combining tax map parcels. That seems odd to me. I don't know. Can we?
We have done that in the past, Will. That way, this will not be a standalone. You can't have a standalone parking lot in that zone. Therefore, they have to combine it with adjacent property.
Okay.
That's fairly typical, sometimes those.
Okay.
Any other discussion? We had a motion and a second. Who seconded it? I lost track. Okay, thank you. No other discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 12 on our agenda is case 2026-0014. This is located at 2 unaddressed properties at 1000 block of Shalford Road. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from RN16 to RN-3. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present?
Mr. Chairman, Emily just let me know that they wanted to defer this for 30 days.
Second.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13 on our agenda is case 2026-0021. This is located at 11915 Highway 58, and staff is recommended to approve special permit for a single wide manufactured home. Is there any opposition present?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies, can I ask why you're here? Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure that we hadn't messed something up, and you've been sitting here a long time, and I wanted to make sure that as we were nearing the end, that we hadn't screwed something up. Okay, so we do have a mandatory referral here on 2026-0011, and this is located at 1816 Gray Road. It's for an acquisition of private property. Staff is recommended to approve. Mr. Schultz, we've got some folks here that want to see the staff presentation.
Sure, and we have somebody from the city representative here, Erica. She can speak to this, but I believe this property is being purchased or acquired by the city for a future park or open space recreation in this area. It's in the East Brainerd area. Staff reviewed this and finds this acquisition of private property does not negatively impact the public health, safety, and well-being. Did add a note that at some point, if the city does acquire this, they need to probably explore the option of rezoning it to open space zone. But staff would recommend to approve, and I'm assuming whatever questions they are, Erica could probably answer those.
Well, so Erica, can you come up here, please?
Erica Robinson, City of Chattanooga, real property, 101 East 11th Street.
Erica, we've been through this before, but with Gail, so developers will be scolded oftentimes by city council or the county commission for not having had neighborhood meetings when they do rezonings and these sorts of things. But for whatever reason, and I don't know why, when the city of Chattanooga does real property stuff, they don't conduct neighborhood meetings.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you work for the city, and it's just not right, because these folks have sat here for 4 hours, and if the city were a developer, we would be scolding them and saying, hey, why have you not held a neighborhood meeting? Why are you not telling people what you're doing? And I know you're just a messenger, so I'm not you, but I would very, very much like to see these. I would like to see the city of Chattanooga conduct itself just like private developers are expected to conduct themselves, and that is to have neighborhood meetings and meet with people. Mr. Anderson wants to speak.
I agree with you, Chairman, and I will take that back to a meeting when I get back to the office in the morning, if we're done by then.
Awesome. Ladies, thank you for being here. Sure. And we'd love to hear from you. You've sat here a long time. Can you come on up to the mic and introduce yourself?
I'm not sure exactly who I need to ask, but my mother, 1814 Gray Road, Christine Murray. I'm Christy, her daughter. Her house is kind of a U right there. Right, exactly. Is there a chance that we could have some kind of privacy fence around her property up to Gray Road? We are not against this at all. Please don't misunderstand. But we would like some kind of privacy for her because it's going to be such open activities. Thank you. So open activities and give her a little privacy and help her feel a little more secure. Is that a possibility?
Ma'am, I gave you my card because I want you to email me that request and I will get it in front of the person that needs to answer you. And let's see what we can get done. I'll do it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for taking part in government today.
What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the next case on the agenda is a mandatory referral. It's case 2026-0012. And it's located at 1009 Reed Lake Road. And it's for an acquisition of private property. And staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present?
Mr. Chairman, we did receive opposition to this. This is being acquired, similar situation to the one we just talked about for a future park, recreation, open space. We received one email in opposition to this being used as a park.
Sure.
I have passed along that opposition to the project leader in my office because I learned that it brings crime.
I will speak for all of Planning Commission. We would love to hear that opposition. So if you could, just in the future, make sure they know that, if they can be here, we'd love to hear from them.
We'll do. I think Emily does a good job emailing them back to let them know
that
we write it, but you're welcome to come show up and support.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Schultz.
We have two text amendments. We've been trying to do a better job of telling you what these amendments come from, whether staff initiated changes. This first change comes at the request of the city attorney's office. The previous zoning code, in that zoning code, had the requirements for Board of Appeals membership, how their terms are staggered, and where the membership comes from. That was removed with adoption of the new zoning code. City attorney's office would like to have that placed back in the zoning code, so that's what this does. Puts the requirements of Board of Appeals back in the zoning code. Basically has 9 members appointed by the city council for 3-year terms. They're staggered. And then of course, the vice chair is elected for the membership of the Board of Appeals. That's fairly standard. Then the powers of the Board of Appeals, 1 through 3 were what were there before. The city attorney's office would like to add number 4, since the Board of Sign Appeals no longer exists. Those are heard by BOSA now. So we're adding that as a power to the Board of Appeals to hear sign code variances. So this comes at the request of City Council, and we would recommend approval of that this text amendment.
Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and it has been seconded. Mr. Maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll keep this quick, I promise. Mr. Schultz, is it the zoning code that empowers or sets up BOZA, or is that done by a separate resolution?
It's done by state law, then, it's in the resolution. Typically this, you would see this information in like the, bylaws, but the state law sets the powers of both Board of Appeals.
Okay, does it also dictate how the members are appointed?
Right now, it does not. That's why we're adding this back. It used to. The previous.
I'm saying state law?
No. I don't recall that off the top of my head. I don't think so.
It does not. So so in theory, that would be a power that could be, is dictated by zoning code. Is that accurate? Or that would be something that is strictly, outlined in how it works from the zoning code?
Correct.
Okay.
How the membership's set up.
Okay. All right.
Typically, you would see this in the bylaws, but again, it was in the previous zoning code. When we went to the new zoning code, it didn't carry over.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In regards to this first resolution on our agenda, we have a motion to approve. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And we have another resolution here in front of us, Mr. Schultz.
Yeah, this is staff initiated. You remember, I guess a couple months ago, FEMA came in and reviewed the FEMA flood regulations. They did another review and they found several definitions that were not in the recent amendment back in, I guess, November. So we're adding those definitions at the request of FEMA. One's related to definition of basement. One's related to flood-related erosion area, flood-related erosion area management, what a person is, and then regulatory floodway, special flood hazard area. And then the last one is not a new definition, it's replacing it. It's replacing new manufactured home subdivision with the following definition. These are all fairly standard definitions. We'd recommend approval as presented. There are no changes to the standards themselves. This is simply definitions.
Is there any opposition? Mr. Price? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve. It has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Staff updates? Are there any?
Karen, you have any staff updates?
I'll be brief. We had discussion last month about getting renters more involved, just hearing more voices in the planning, but the process. And so we come back with some ideas. So some of the items we came up with, we felt maybe we could test for 3 months or 6 months and see how it goes and then report back. So I'm gonna run down the list. It's about 4 or 5 things. Send renters the same letter we send property owners about nearby zoning cases. We felt we could put in there maybe a self-addressed stamped envelope with a card saying, do you intend to come? Do you understand why the importance? Why wouldn't you come? To see if there's barriers to participation. So a question might be like, I feel like I don't have enough information to give feedback, or the meeting's not at a good time, just to understand why people that do rent might not be coming. We talked about gearing that letter to kind of an all voices are important. Mr. Anderson made the comment a couple cases ago about thank you for being involved in this process. We note that we can provide translation services, interpretation services. The city has it's a kind of a one call number to interpret for anyone that comes to the meeting. Having Marisol in our office has been very beneficial to have Spanish language interpretation. We maybe could just add that as a line in Spanish on these letters. Could also identify ways that someone could become involved that doesn't include attending meetings. So more just communication out. The property tax records have, just the mailing address. We talked about having speakers let us know whether they rent or own when they come and speak at a meeting. So we don't want that necessarily to be part of the meeting, but they could note just, are we hearing from renters? Or we just assume we have people give their address, but we don't ask if they rent or own, but maybe just getting some more information just to help us do our jobs better. The city also coordinates quite a bit with neighborhood associations, just get a feel, how many people or renters are involved in those organizations. And then also just reaching out to association or community groups that are organizing or organized, but want to impact local decisions about items like affordable housing, and just let them know or add them to the notification list of meetings. But we talked about perhaps trying this for 6 months, getting a feel for, are we hearing diverse voices or for people that do rent, and then maybe re-examine it after 6 months.
Can you include in that some thoughts in regards to how RPA, when it does planning efforts, here's like, I'm assuming go to neighborhood meetings, and those neighborhood meetings are fairly organized, but then there are apartment complexes, who are, they're not necessarily taxpayers in Hamilton County because of the fact that they're renting, but, they're just as much a part of our community and or our students that are in our universities. And I think maybe oftentimes their voices just aren't heard at these decision-making.
We can. I mean, one possibility is that if we have a nearby apartment complex, to reach out to the property manager and ask them to either post flyers or add it in their communication, just to say, if you're interested in what is going on in our community, we can add that to the list.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
Chairman, I was glad to see the paper cover your remarks and actually, give some equal weight to different viewpoints last month. And I agree with everything you said, except I just want to say that renters do pay taxes. Landlords just call it rent.
Sure.
And then they use the rent to pay taxes.
I was just saying, like, yes.
I understood what you meant. I just wanted to say, everybody pays taxes here, whether they own or rent.
So, Mr. Chair, we can start these activities, and we might have a slide at the beginning or ask you just to note that, we're trying to get a feel for who we're hearing from, and, ask them to fill out a card or something, just so they understand why they're being asked for that information.
That'd be great.
Mr. Chairman, just give you a heads up, next month, you'll probably have a bundle of text amendments from the county, basically to help fulfill Plan Hamilton. We have probably 6 or 7 amendments to discuss in February, hopefully for adoption in March. So we'll do next month.
When will those be circulated for input?
We're meeting next week to review the draft for our staff, and then we'll get them out as soon as we can.
Okay.
We're not asking for you all to act in February.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just bring you to your attention. We'll go through them in February, Planning Commission, and actually add it on your agenda for March.
Yep. Ms. Adams.
Correct. It's a lot of the Plan Hamilton has development standards in it. Right now, we don't have a discussion earlier, countryside residential. If you're zoned A1, the only way to get 3 dwelling units per acre on public sewer is to go to R1, which allows 7, but you have to condition it. So we're drafting a countryside residential zone, if you will. Looking at fixing A1, the development standards, the conditions that Commissioner Byrd pointed out will be in the zone itself. That's what you'll see. And then bringing back the ADU ordinance in a park and resort zone.
Brian,
So-
you also include the amendment process for?
No, we probably won't have that ready, I don't think, by next time. Really depending on what happens with it was, we will, staff will.
Okay.
The zoning amendments I developed.
I understand that, but the other things.
The plan amendment process.
And everything else along with. I guess what I'm asking is and I was part of it, there was a number of us that were involved in developing Plan Hamilton.
Right.
Are they going to have any input into that?
As far as the text amendments, they'll have just an opportunity here as a public hearing to come in and speak when we.
But we can have, to that point, we can have copies available, a note on.
It'll be on our
that-
website.
that on the agenda that it's going to happen. So if someone wants to look at it. So Nathan drafted it, and we're talking about that next week. And then the plan amendment, we've had a couple rounds of it, kind of talking about what that looks like. So yes, we plan on talking about it today, and just at our meeting last week, kind of ran into a couple of questions we need to talk about more. So yes, we plan on hopefully coming back next month.
And on our RPA website, there is a link to this meeting, and on the top, it says plan and text amendments. We put all the text amendments on there for people to look at and provide comments.
Just to clarify on that point, there was some back and forth on whether county commission wanted to adopt the plan or not. I don't know that there's a consensus on that. And
I think they're getting close.
that could change how the amendment process works. And so I think at first we were wanting to wait and see if they were going to adopt it. hopefully we get more clarity soon and then we can develop a good amendment process. Because it will look different if it's adopted by them.
Ms. Adams and then Dr. Highlander.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion to Karen regarding reaching out to renters is to the renters that pay taxes, to consider having a QR code as well. That may increase your response rate, like to a Google form or something like that.
That's great. Thank
All
you.
right, you're
That's a great idea.
Dr. Highlander.
Just very briefly, Chairman, I realize a lot of people you think don't pay attention to you. I'm not equating you with Jesus, but I will say this, and Reverend Cardinal may back me up. A prophet's not without honor except in his own country.
Thank you for that. Ms. Burrs.
I'm not sure how to follow that. Almost wish you'd let me go first. I mean, before that. Karen, or Brian, I just have a small request on these sheets, the summary sheets that we get in front of the application for the application. Can you add under jurisdiction, whether it's what district it is? So if it's city council, if it's city of Chattanooga jurisdiction, just put 6. Or
Yes.
Hamilton County, put 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? I'd entertain a motion to approve the minute.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. It has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Payne. Thank you.